4 units over in Andover.
The southeast part of our town, especially the mobile home park, is totally level. The injuries are too numerous at this point to assess.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Susan Peters. Mother Nature shows her fury in a variety of fashions. People in coastal regions must battle hurricanes. Residents of northern states face annual blizzards. Each spring, Kansas turns into Tornado Alley. Few twisters, though, have been as devastating as the one that rumbled through south central Kansas on April 26th. It killed 19 people and left hundreds homeless. In the next 2 hours, we'll look back at the powerful storm and the dramatic response of victims and volunteers fighting back. For now, let's go to Roger Cornish in Andover, where the rebuilding process is well underway. Roger.
Susan, in fact, you can see some of the rebuilding right behind me now as we look to the east. There's an old saying that time heals all wounds. I'm sure for people in Andover and much across this part of the Kansas, they would like more time for these wounds to heal. It's been just 8 days since the tornado, although I'm sure it feels like an eternity for many of the victims. In fact, I'm sure they're no doubt reliving it each night. Bryce Madison takes us back to the night of April 26th, taking a look at what has happened in the last 8 days. Now, I want to warn you, some of the video is quite graphic, and some of it is actually taken from our newscast that night, containing the tornado warnings. Don't be worried by these, though. Here's a look back.
This is Eyewitness News at 6 with Roger Cornish, Susan Peters, Merrill Teller weather, Bruce Hurdle sports. Now, the area's #1 rated 6 o'clock news.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Susan Peters.
I'm Roger Cornish. Thanks for joining us. As predicted, a number of severe storms have popped up across the state. Merrill now joins us with the latest. Merrill?
Okay, we still have the tornado warning in effect until 6:15 for all of Sedgwick County.
How many times has the 6 o'clock news had reports of possible tornadoes in Kansas in the spring? This newscast started off like hundreds of others before it, but none of us had any idea how it would end. Those possible tornadoes turned into the real things.
As of 6 o'clock, the tornado was reported by the Hayesville Police Department at 77th Street South and West Street, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. And another tornado was reported, this is the one from the spotter, 5 miles east of Peck.
How many times have tornadoes come through Kansas in the spring, killing innocent men, women, and children, and wrecking millions of dollars worth of property? Add one more time, April 26, 1991.
We are heading southbound right now on I-235, and I guess I am in the unenviable position of being between sites where there have been tornadoes, or at least funnels spotted. To the south of us, they've talked about tornadoes on the ground in the Clearwater area. Also one spotted around 103rd Street South and Seneca, if I remember right. Also to the north, we've been listening to reports of a cell that has been trying to spawn a tornado now. I'm pulling off I-235 at Meridian. I'm just about to head south. It's a really bizarre atmosphere out here. On one hand, to the west.
Now, Bob, we have to cut you off now and go to Merrill in the Weather Center. He has some more warning for people down in the Boeing area. Is that right, Merrill?
No.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We now have a confirmation from a sheriff's officer who is down on K-15 and says the storm appears to be moving toward Boeing in South Wichita. That would put folks in the Oak Lawn area in immediate peril, and also, again, down around the Plainview area and down toward Boeing in South Wichita.
Boeing missed a direct hit from the tornado. McConnell Air Force Base, just to the east, did not.
You got this on camera? Yeah.
This home footage was shot by an airman hanging outside a dormitory. The twister lumbered across the base, destroying a hospital and several other houses and buildings. Surprisingly, no one was seriously injured here.
We're receiving reports, in fact, they're coming in so fast that we can't keep track of them all, of the tornadoes that have hit areas in the Derby area, also around the Hayesville area, and
we next follow the tornado as it heads towards Andover. Eyewitness News photographer Doug Schrog is running the camera, and the truck, and the windshield wipers, all at the same time. Let's ride along.
So folks in the Andover area and Rose Hill take cover immediately. We're looking back, and it's barely visible, barely able to make out the outline, but it is on the ground.
Through the high winds and the hail, Doug continues eastward on Central. Right now, the monster tornado is flattening the Golden Spur Mobile Home Park in Andover. One county to the south, another huge Kansas twister is wrecking a rural area east of Winfield. This footage is coming out of the Frog Hollow area near K-160. This footage comes minutes later, north of the Country View School.
Is anybody in there? Hello?
Immediately after the storm passes, search and rescue missions start. When all is said and done, 19 Kansans will be found dead under the debris, 17 in the Wichita area, including 13 at the mobile home park and 1 in Cali County. The long road to recovery now begins.
21st Street to Andover Road and then south, Judge.
The Andover tornado traveled some 75 miles on the ground, chewing up everything in its path. As hours passed after the disaster, so too did the army of volunteers who came from surrounding neighborhoods, cities, even states to help clean up. In Andover, there is controversy about why the city's lone storm siren failed to sound, and tears flow over the sheer devastation of it all.
Oh God, I gotta see it to believe it. I just can't. Oh, tell me why God does this. Can you explain it to me? Such devastation to all these people.
God doesn't do it.
Later in the week, all of the damage at McConnell Air Force Base has rumors floating around that the tanker bomber installation may close and relocate to another base targeted for closure. But a visit by the Secretary of the Air Force puts those thoughts to rest. McConnell, he says, will stay.
Of course, McConnell was on the list that we elected to keep and not recommend to give up, and since the choice was made based on long-term interests, I see no reason whatsoever that we should reconsider that.
He had a 65 Chevy pickup, and it's the one that's over in the field. Bumper's there, tailgate was there, the frame's over there, the cab, it ripped it off it somewhere.
Stories of surviving the killer tornadoes are seemingly as plentiful as the damage itself. Norman Fireball's parents, both in their 70s, rode out the storm in their closet while the whole house was lifted off the ground. This old mulberry tree of theirs was split open, allowing a jacket and bicycle tire tube to be permanently caught. This woman was actually sucked off the ground by a tornado, and while spinning in the air, she saw a cow.
And when I hit the ground the second time, there was a log in the field where I'd ended up. And I grabbed onto it and just put my head down and prayed that it was over.
Treasure your loved ones.
not ever waste a minute with them.
Unfortunately, the saddest stories came nearly a week after the tornado, when the dead were buried. Leonard and Kathy Craven said goodbye to their 5- and 2-year-old daughters with a letter.
And tell them that you love them.
The 2 tornadoes that plowed through Sedgwick, Butler, and Kelly counties are being categorized as F4 tornadoes with winds in excess of 250 miles per hour. Both are extremely rare tornadoes. In fact, only 2 of every 100 are as powerful. Guess we've had our share. It'll take a lot of time, a lot of hard work to return this back to normal life, but in the end, the dedicated spirit of Kansans will prevail. Bryce Madison, Eyewitness News, Andover.
Having no prior experience dealing with disasters of this magnitude, Andover authorities had to make some tough decisions that night and the week since after the tornado ripped through town. Some Golden Spur Mobile Home Park residents focused resentment towards Andover's mayor, Jack Finlayson. Bob Keeling looks at the storm of controversy arising between the mayor and some of those residents.
An Andover police officer's videotape captures his squad car as it drives through the Golden Spur Mobile Home Park, warning them of the tornado that would hit in just 7 minutes. A nearby civil defense siren has failed, and looking back, some residents felt that this wasn't a good enough warning and may have cost lives. Others said they had plenty of warning.
All units take cover. Don't stay out any longer. Go for cover.
As the officer makes his way to safety, the horrific cloud makes its way across Andover Road. As you watch, it's taking 13 lives at the Golden Spur Mobile Home Park. What was your first reaction when you saw the devastation in your town?
Well, I was in absolute total shock. It took me about a half hour to work my way up to the disaster area.
When Mayor Finlayson got there, he found unbelievable wreckage at the park. He said he had some tough decisions to make. A decision to bring in heavy equipment to move the debris to look for more bodies or those who might still be alive.
Anybody in there?
The mayor's decision was part of the controversy. Butler County paramedics told me that great care was taken to remove the debris to try and find people who might still be alive. But some residents complained that they weren't allowed back into the complex, and when they were, crews had ruined what they had left to salvage.
I was down there last night and everything was a mess, but at least it was to where you could get to it. Now it's just all in big piles and everybody's stuff's mixed with everybody else's stuff.
We could have salvaged 5 times more than this, but the way it was, they dozed everything up in the great big piles.
Residents resented the mayor for his decision to bring in the heavy equipment. At a city council meeting, the controversy soured the mayor to answer any questions from the media.
I'm not going to take any questions from you, Channel 12, at this point. I'm tired of the questions that you keep posing to us.
At an Andover town hall meeting, the controversy heated up. Residents of the Golden Spur Park had gone hoping to ask the mayor about his decisions during what was scheduled to be a public comment session. But that session was abruptly canceled, and some residents left angry and feeling ignored.
We haven't been treated like human beings off of this city. We've been ignored. We've been left out. They wouldn't let us get to our mobile homes.
Why didn't they ask it when the meeting was going on instead of waiting until after the meeting is over? That's a town meeting.
By Thursday, the mayor wanted to settle the controversy about the heavy equipment.
It's a tough decision, but life came before property. I suppose in lifting the debris, it was piled elsewhere, and I suppose gave the appearance that it was bulldozed. I apologize to those people that lost their possessions.
But the controversy didn't end there. Finlayson was quoted as saying victims died because they lived in a mobile home park, and some saw that as insensitive towards the victims.
If there wasn't a shelter where the trailer happened to be parked at that time, we never ignored, we never hesitated to get to one, and if there had been warnings, they would have been in one instead of sitting in the house.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that if I lived in a mobile home, I would be more alert to storms than if I lived in a home that had a basement.
And you weren't trying to say that in somehow it was their fault for living there, that's why they
No,
come.
sir.
Many may question the decisions made that night, but the mayor and most of his rescue team had no previous working knowledge of a disaster of this magnitude. They had to depend on a written but untried plan and advice from officials in other towns like Heston. For Finlayson, the disaster marks a stormy beginning to his second term as mayor, a job he didn't want this time around, a term he had hoped would be a quiet one. Bob Keeling, Eyewitness News, Andover.
And we'll have more live from Andover coming up in the next couple of hours on this night, 8 days after the deadly tornado. Sue, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Roger. You know, for many Kansans, a severe weather siren can be a lifesaver when tornadoes begin forming. But what happens when the siren doesn't sound or an area is not covered by one? Chuck Weber has more on how the siren system works and why you shouldn't depend on it completely when the weather turns ominous.
No one need doubt the destructive fury a Kansas tornado can inflict. For many Kansans, the sound of the tornado siren is nothing to be taken lightly. It's their lifeline. But what happens when the siren doesn't sound? Curtis Atchley nearly got caught in the path of last week's tornado while delivering pizza in Andover.
Then by the time I got back to the Pizza Hut in Andover, my manager was waiting on me. She told me to get in the basement, and as soon as I got in the basement, the tornado hit the Pizza Hut. But the siren, it was at the Meadows Plaza where the siren was supposed to be. It never went off. I never heard it, you know, and I came right down Central, and I never heard it.
Atchley didn't hear the Andover siren because it malfunctioned when it was needed most. Police and fire crews sounded their sirens in neighborhoods just minutes before the tornado hit. Andover's mayor says the citizens of his town had plenty of warning.
Last night, we pushed that button 4 times and the siren didn't go off. But we had police and fire and the same volunteers that have been going up and down that street for the past 40 years sounding the alarm. It went through the mobile home park. It went past my house at least 20 to 30 minutes before. We had plenty of warning.
There are nearly 100 severe weather sirens in metropolitan Wichita. 72 of them are activated here at Emergency Dispatch Headquarters. Pat Glenn makes sure they're all working properly. Glenn says so many things can go wrong with the sirens.
There are so many things when you look at an electronic and electrical schematic of the siren from the time that the signal comes in till the noise comes out the horn. It always amazes me that we get them all to go off. It sits out there when in January it freezes down to 40 below, that siren sits there and gets frozen too. And when we boil everything in August at 110 degrees, it sits there and boils, and they do go off.
In addition to potential mechanical problems, disaster management officials say there's a coverage problem with the system as well. They say some parts of Wichita, like this south side neighborhood between Rock Road and Woodlawn, fall into a so-called black hole area. Sirens can't be heard here.
Glenn says those black holes are slowly being filled in, and he says some of these sirens were bought 40 years ago. Each year, a few new ones are added to the system. But for people who depend completely on the siren system, Glenn has some advice.
Be sure and start watching the weather. Just kind of keep it in the corner of your mind back in there, and as the things get darker, then start paying attention to the weather and see what clues are given to you. If it's starting to get dark and it's raining and all of a sudden it stops raining and there's hail, then very likely you're going to be involved in a tornado real quick.
No system is foolproof, and Kansas weather can be unpredictable and deadly. Tuning into weather conditions from lots of sources is your best prevention when Kansas tornadoes strike. Chuck Weber, Eyewitness News, Wichita.
Good advice. Coming up next, we'll talk with the people who witnessed the destruction through the lens of their video cameras.
Well, if you ever imagine an atomic bomb going off and, you know, and you come out of a hole somewhere, that's about how I felt, you know.
I would make the packages about yay big. Easy to carry.
No weak stuff, you know, something that's powerful.
It's got to clean.
Clean my shirts, my sweats, my socks.
With kids, they get dirty about every minute.
Just knock it out.
I want my colors to be bright. I just want my colors.
I hate when red turns pink.
Cheer with Color Guard. A scoopful cleans a machineful.
Can you see what I'm up against here?
Chris Everett discusses her weakness.
It's not tennis. It's eating. I love rich, creamy foods. But now this isn't a weakness. It's healthy eating, thanks to Kraft.
Kraft introduces Eating Right frozen entrees. Rich, creamy recipes now lower in fat, cholesterol, sodium, and calories.
Weakness? Not anymore.
New Kraft Eating Right entrees. Kraft makes eating right.
Delicious.
McDonald's says, when it comes to fat, if you haven't got it, flaunt it. Introducing McLean Deluxe, made with a 91% fat-free beef patty for great burger taste with a lot less fat. So it all adds up. 91% fat-free, 100% delicious. And figures don't lie. New McLean Deluxe at McDonald's today.
For a limited time, when you buy a McLean Deluxe, you can get a medium Diet Coke free. That's 100% off. It's bound to make quite a splash at McDonald's.
With 35 years as Wichita's volume car dealer, Davis Moore has seen good sales months and better sales months. But in May, Davis Moore is going to break all the records, and that means money savings to you. They're ready to deal with deep discounts and special purchases. Select from new cars, trucks, and vans, and the finest used cars in Wichita. Get a record-breaking deal during the history-making month of May. Shop any of the 12 Davis Moore dealerships and see what a difference a dealership can make.
Most of the spectacular shots of last week's tornado were captured by amateur photographers. Linda Hammond introduces us to two of the photographers and a safety official who says the camera operators need to take cover, not pictures.
The tornado tears through McConnell Air Force Base. The powerful twister rips off roofs, knocks down trees, and moves on to other targets. This is only one of the examples of videotape taken by an amateur photographer. Here, a stockbroker videotapes from Teradyne. He's in the shower when someone spots the tornado. He just happens to have a video recorder in his locker.
You can see the houses, exploding and, going the roofs going up, large roofs out of barns, and in that film, it was pretty devastating, obviously. And when it hit the mobile home park, you could just see the air was cluttered.
You might say Duke Evans is an amateur meteorologist, too. He has taken classes in meteorology, and, well, growing up in Kansas helps, too, so he does know something about tornadoes. And with this one, the one that tore through Andover, on videotape, it looks closer than it really is. Duke says he kept his distance.
If it gets over Central, I'm running downstairs, because there was a lot of steel in the building out at Teradyne.
In this day and age, when it seems almost everyone has a video camera, it's understandable why so many people get pictures of severe weather. But officials here at the Sedgwick County Disaster Management Division say getting pictures is one of the last things you should be doing when a tornado is headed your way.
When we issue a warning and tell the general public to take shelter, they need to take shelter. If they don't, they're going to be a statistic. It's just as simple as that.
Koslett says people who get out and videotape a tornado are just causing problems for authorities and are putting their own life in jeopardy.
You got people trapped. There's a possibility when you can't get the emergency equipment through that there's somebody in that wreckage that could have got out, could have been rescued and saved, who might lose their life.
If we'd taken down the basement, of course, no electricity, so there was no light.
Gene Thompson has a different story. He recorded some of the tornado, but by mistake. He started shooting some of the hail, saw the tornado, and made a beeline for the basement.
We decided it was time to get to the basement, so we dashed downstairs and into the basement. It was a good thing we did, because everything we had was, the whole house was gone.
Gene took the camera downstairs with him. He didn't know it, but he left it rolling. You can't see it, but you can hear it hitting the house.
We're getting, I think it's going right over us. It was heading right toward us. Here.
In all of the cases of amateur photographers getting pictures, luckily there were no injuries or deaths. But safety officials say we were lucky. Next time, officials say we may not be as fortunate, so it's better if everyone takes cover when threatening weather looms overhead. Linda Hammond, Eyewitness News, Wichita.
And we'll have another look at the home videos of the tornado later in this special report. Here at Eyewitness News, our first view of the tornado was provided by photojournalist Doug Schrog. Schrog spotted the massive twister as he was driving toward Andover.
A lot of damaging winds, so be careful and most of all, take shelter if you're in the basement.
Well, I was driving down Greenwich Road and just came over a little bit of a hill, and I saw it off just a little bit to my left and straight ahead. When I got to Central, I took a left and just tried to stay a little bit behind it and keep up with it enough to where I could shoot video of it. From the indications that I was hearing over the radio, the conversations back to the station, also scanner traffic, it seemed to have been developing a pattern moving pretty much northeast. So, and that looked like the direction it was heading. So that's kind of, I figured it was going to cross Central at some point. I just wanted to be close enough to where I could get some good pictures of it when it did. It had started to hail, and it was getting a little bit harder to see because of the rain and the hail, but you could still tell that it was incredibly big. You know, it wasn't like I heard one lady describe, it was no Wizard of Oz tornado. I mean, this was a big tornado, and you know, you have to realize that this thing is doing so much damage that you know, you're excited that you can shoot this tornado, but in the same time, you're thinking, man, this is really creating havoc everywhere, and of course, as we learned later, how much it really did.
Of course, we were all surprised when Doug brought that videotape back, because it looks like he's driving right toward the tornado, and we didn't know whether to call him brave or a little stupid, right, Roger?
That's exactly right, Susan. We appreciated his efforts, and we're glad he got out of that okay. Quick reaction and reliable information can obviously mean the difference between life and death in a situation like we had last Friday. Some volunteer storm spotters risked their lives to warn you, the public, about storms that may be putting you in danger. They say it's all pretty much just a part of the job. Shelley Hansel has more on these brave people.
We're just now on the Sedgwick-Butler County line, and this storm is still doing a lot of damage and packing a lot of damaging winds. So be careful, and most of all, take shelter. If you're in the basement, stay there.
KFDI's John Wright describes the worst tornado he has ever seen in his 13 years of reporting.
The only hope that we have from the news department is that people are getting accurate and good information, and that they could use that information to save their lives. I mean, this is just incredible that anyone could live through this.
As people scrambled to take cover during last week's storm, often their only source of information was their portable radio.
You know, I do feel responsible for our listeners out here, and boy, this is just incredible to come upon this damage after being so far out. It never really hits you until you drive up in here and look at all these bricks and mortar and
427.
But pressure, I don't think it's pressure, it's just the continued commitment of what KFDI radio is all about.
A total of 503 tornado and storm victims have applied for various kinds of federal and state aid so far.
News director Dan Dillon coordinates the storm spotting team from the KFDI studios. He says they prepare and plan year-round for their severe weather coverage to keep up on all the latest information.
Every year we go to tornado spotting classes that people from the National Weather Service conduct. Every year we do that. We look at books. We try to know what we're talking about in terms of the clouds and what we're looking at out there.
One of the first reporters to spot the killer tornado was KFDI's Ken Vandruff.
I was out by Goddard. I spotted the tornado by Goddard, and John Wright was behind me. In fact, at that time, he was getting pea-sized hail out by Clearwater, and offered to come out and help. And I said, no, stick around down there, because there might be something come out of that, and that's the storm that created the tornado that went by Andover.
38076. 38076.
Vandruff and his co-workers say they try to stay at a comfortable distance while tracking the tornado, but he says a little healthy fear never hurts.
If you're not scared, you're crazy. It's a matter of getting training that we do every spring, and it's a matter of knowing where you are and knowing what's out there and hopefully having somebody to help cover your tail. But you've got to have a good, healthy respect for these storms or you're going to get killed.
Let's go back to our KFDI mobile units.
John Riding Mobile 22, and we have a tornado on the ground at 127th Street East in Kellogg right now. So folks in the Andover area and Rose Hill take cover immediately.
Vandruff says it's a tough job trying to keep track of where he and the tornado are at any given moment. But he realizes his information can be the difference between life and death.
We've got to be very careful about what we say and when we say it. But if, on the other hand, if I'm sure I've got a tornado on the ground, then, by God, I'm going to call a tornado on the ground, and I'm going to try to tell people as best I can exactly where it is and which way it's moving and just how bad it really is that I can tell, so that I can tell people to, hey, hit the basements now because this thing's coming at you.
That's a lot of pressure. And yes, mistakes will be made, but hopefully with every experience, something new is learned.
Every time something like this happens, we learn something new. I had someone come up to me later saying, Dan, when you're on the air that long, you need to give more time checks. And they're right, because I mentioned earlier that you lose track of time. So I'm going to try every time I go on the air during severe weather coverage to tell people what time it is.
And with the severe weather season in full bloom, the KFDI storm spotters could be back on the road again at most any time. Shelley Hansel, Eyewitness News, Wichita.
And still to come, we'll check on the cleanup efforts in other areas hit by last week's deadly storms.
You know, I think of all the memories because, you know, I lived basically here most of my life. And just watching it kind of even blow away right now. It's been rough.
Sprite with Lyman, a little more fun than what you're used to.
California Sprint Cars race for over $30,000 in prize money May 7th at 81 Speedway. This is their only Kansas appearance, so be...
Oh, guess who I saw today? Alan Parks.
Alan Parks? You're kidding. What's new with him?
Well, for starters, he bought one of those new Ford Explorers.
Ford Explorer?
Yeah, you know, 4 doors, 4-wheel drive, really sharp.
Oh, yeah? How's he like it?
Loves it. Says it has plenty of space for his family and all the luxuries he needs for carting clients around.
Well, why did he pick the Ford Explorer? I mean, aren't there a lot of vehicles like it?
Well, according to Alan, there's nothing like it.
It's a new day, there's a brand new way. Go fish!
Now you got a choice.
Rejoice! Go fish! No matter what you're after, you're gonna get your wish. Go fish!
At Long John Silver's, we have a lot of ways to go. Batter dipped, tender baked, or lightly breaded.
Go fish! Long John Silver's!
Right now, try our batter dipped fish and chicken combo, just $1.99.
Everybody knows that milk's for babies, so charming, disarming, whatever they do. Everybody knows that milk's for babies, and when you know it, baby, milk's for you. Soft baby skin, strong baby bones, bright baby smile, and ooh, great muscle tone. Wouldn't you know it, baby, milk's for you. It's a health kick, baby.
South central Kansas was not the only area struck by last week's deadly tornadoes. Twisters were reported in 7 states. In our area, damage was spread from Tulsa to Topeka. The cleanup is nearly complete in Nortonville in northeast Kansas. A dozen homes were destroyed. Many more were damaged. Emergency workers had most of the debris removed by midweek, and the rebuilding process is well underway. A tornado also destroyed a small church in Maple Hill, Kansas. Cleanup efforts are also well underway in northeast Oklahoma tonight, where the storms caused millions of dollars in damage. Terry Bowers has this report now. We apologize, that is the wrong videotape. We will have Terry Bowers' report in just a few minutes. We'll be back.
Introducing Red Lobster's plentiful shrimp sampler, just $6.99. Succulent grilled shrimp, golden fried shrimp, and scampi, all just $6.99 with our new hot fresh bread at Red Lobster.
It's sizzling hot. It's the best pizza deal you can cut. A deal that isn't skimpy. This one has real meat to it. 6 meat toppings and a blend of cheeses. Pizza Hut's Meat Lovers Pizza. Get 1 medium for $8.99, another for just $4 more. A limited time offer.
Pizza Hut, making it great.
Attention American Family policyholders. Soon an American Family Insurance claim team will arrive in your area. If you've incurred damage or loss from the recent storm activity, please report it immediately to your American Family agent. Your agent will make arrangements to have your claims settled by the claims team. By reporting your losses directly to your agent, your claim will receive the fastest possible attention. Once again, if you need assistance, contact your local American Family Insurance agent or call the Catastrophe Office at 684-6763.
When they ask, "Can I help you?" they mean it. When they discover a way to make your shopping easier, they adopt it. Ask for a refund, you get a refund. No questions asked. Tell them you want the kind of pickles Uncle Leo used to buy in Detroit. They order them for you. These are Dillon's people. At Dillon's, treating the customer like a guest is more than a policy. It's a tradition.
When you do something that comes from your heart, you leave a heart print, and people can feel it. And there are moments on the show when I get goosebumps. I love that.
Weekdays at 3, only on Channel 12.
As we said, in northeast Oklahoma, millions of dollars of damage was done by last week's storm. Let's now go to Terry Bowers for that report.
By the truck full, shovel full, and handful, volunteers picked up trash that used to be parts of the Oolaga school. From big chunks of ceiling to tiny shards of glass.
Takes all day. We'll be here on our hands and knees. We're just proud to help Oolaga get back up, and I think it helps unite the community.
And it seemed the entire community was ready to help. Parents pitched in with their children. Teachers worked alongside their students. Even kids with mixed feelings about class earned A's for the cleanup.
I don't like going to school, but I like how the school work and stuff. The schools are pride and joy and everything.
It didn't take long to see results of that attitude. Less than 2 hours into the cleanup, and you can see a big difference here at the football field. It's cleaned up, but the work's not over yet.
Any of you that are not doing anything now, doesn't have a job, move to the front of the school.
Nobody said the work was going to be easy, not physically.
By 6 o'clock now, I'm going to be dead, but it'll be worth it. It's hard.
Or emotionally.
Well, it's just kind of seeing like all the memories of the school, you know, and all things that have happened, and now it's just ruined.
The work was obviously tough, especially for little ones like 7-year-old Jeanette. The broom's bigger than she is. But that doesn't matter. She and all the volunteers are here to show the tornadoes not bigger than their spirit.
Terry Bowers, Eyewitness News, Oolaga, Oklahoma.
Ironically, we had planned on doing a live report with Terry Bowers tonight, but severe weather is once again moving through northeast Oklahoma. In fact, the director of FEMA was in northeast Oklahoma today to tour the disaster area there to decide on a disaster declaration for that state. It's assumed parts of northeast Oklahoma will also be declared disaster areas. Much of the funds for rebuilding areas damaged by the tornadoes will come from insurance companies. Insurers are expecting to process tens of millions of dollars of claims, as you can imagine. Damage assessors have been busy already from sunrise to sunset, visiting with the hundreds of people whose homes and property were destroyed or damaged. Most of the larger insurance companies have brought in additional crews to handle the workload.
This, as far as the number of adjusters, is not that uncommon. The type of storm that we've had is very uncommon. Total dollars is the most that we've dealt with here in our region for as long as I can remember.
Many companies have set up temporary offices in the heavily damaged areas to better serve policy holders. Just how bad was this storm? Many national organizations grade tornadoes, as you know. Let's go to Roger Cornish once again in Andover with that grading process. Raj.
So we've had a lot of numbers. This truly is a numbers story about this tornado. Earlier this week, a disaster survey team comprised of members of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration came to Kansas. Their mission to assess and evaluate events leading up to the disaster. Their early findings lead to the classification of each twister that moved through Andover and the one through Cowley County as F4s. On the official national tornado rating scale, that's called a devastating tornado with winds between 207 and 260 miles an hour. Now, in comparison, the tornado which ripped through Heston on March 13th of last year was classified as an F5 tornado. That's described as an incredible tornado. That's the official term, incredible, and it certainly was, with winds in excess of 260 miles per hour. Wind speeds at that speed can lift strong framed houses off their foundations and carry them for hundreds and hundreds of yards and completely destroy them and cause a lot of other incredible phenomena to occur. It has been just a little more than 13 months since that F5, that incredible tornado, ripped through Heston. Also, the surrounding communities were hit there as well. The same nightmare they're faced is the one faced now by Butler County and Sedgwick counties on April 26th. For a reminder, here's a segment from the Kansas nightmare 1 year later.
The twister left behind a trail of devastation from one side of Heston to the other. Tuesday, March 13th, 1990, 5:42 p.m. A tornado packing wind forces of 250 miles an hour bears down on Heston, Kansas.
I said, it can't miss us now because it's only 1,000 feet away, and it came across and aimed right for the corner of my house. It couldn't have hit it any square.
In a few short minutes, lives are changed forever. Homes and businesses in this small town are hardly recognizable. All that's left are twisted, tangled remains. More than 150 houses and 24 businesses damaged or leveled.
My God, the pressure, and then just stuff started flying through the windows, and in about 5 seconds it was over, and I come upstairs and there's just nothing good there. The car's gone. I mean, these people built a brand new house. This house right next here was brand new. They didn't even have all the siding on yet.
With their lives and homes shattered, Hestonians need a place to turn. That's where the Red Cross comes in. The high school gymnasium is transformed into a temporary refuge where victims get food, blankets, and a place to sleep. To protect what little is left outside, the governor calls on the National Guard. 75 guardsmen police this community.
No, I think that's my CD player.
And folks here begin to rummage through the debris, hoping to salvage a memory or two. Lance West, Eyewitness News, Heston.
With last week's tornado still fresh in our minds, we can draw some comparisons between them and what happened in Heston a little more than a year ago. The dollar loss, although it's not completely tallied up, was certainly greater just a week ago. More counties were affected statewide, and the saddest of all, 19 people in Kansas lost their lives April 26th compared to just 2 back on March 13th of 1990. That, of course, the greatest tragedy of all. Those lives shattered by the tornadoes of last year and this year tell us that no matter what the forecasting is or the high-tech things we use to keep you abreast of what's happening with the weather, we're still pretty hopeless to protect ourselves against it. Last week's tornado, as deadly as it was not the worst Kansas has ever seen. Now, that dubious distinction goes to a twister back in 1955 that I'm sure many of you will remember hearing about. In fact, I know that growing up here in Kansas, for a long time you couldn't hear the words Udall without thinking of the word tornado. Here's why. Today, Udall looks like a typical small Kansas town, but you might notice that almost all the homes look a little too new. That's because they've been rebuilt since May 25th, 1955. That's when a powerful tornado moved in from Oklahoma. Standing directly in its way was Udall, Kansas, a town of about 400 people. Late that night, Udall was hit and nearly destroyed. One of those who lived through it describes the damage.
It took all the churches in town, took all the schoolhouses in town, took the community building down here, took all the residences in town and all the businesses in town.
More than 80 people were killed. In other words, about a fifth of the entire town's population. As one survivor said, "We seemed to find a body underneath everything we picked up." Because communication lines were destroyed, Wichita didn't hear of the disaster for more than an hour. The first reporter on the scene was Henry Harvey, who arrived shortly after midnight.
There were all kinds of situations, people running around crying and screaming, looking for their family members. And many of them found them. But there again, they were walking around in a daze, a lot of them. People who lived there didn't know north from south, came out in total darkness, total blankness, because ordinarily, you see, you could walk around at night and on the horizon you would see shadows of houses and buildings, but those buildings weren't there.
Someone else who was there that night was current Andover resident Claude Irwin.
It was years and years before we could sleep through a fairly heavy thunderstorm, you know. But in the last few years, well, we've kind of older and become accustomed to it and kind of put it in the back of our mind.
The Irwins also lived through the tornado in Andover. And yes, for the second time, they looked up afterward to find their home gone. But they still found time to be thankful.
When we crawled out, you know, we were just so happy to be alive and no dead around us right here, you know, that is just unbelievable.
Well, now the Irwins are rebuilding in Andover, in fact, not far from where I'm standing right now, and they are no doubt hoping tornado number 3 never comes along. The quick recovery of many damaged neighborhoods here in Andover and elsewhere across the state is thanks to a great army of volunteers. We'll have some of their stories and a way to say thanks coming up next.
George!
Out golfing. Left you dinner. Not in the freezer. On the shelf.
Kraft microwave entrees.
They're new.
Ooh, chicken fettuccine.
Tender chicken, ribbons of fettuccine in a creamy sauce. Kraft slow cooks them. Then all the taste is sealed in so no preservatives are needed. Takes 2 minutes.
This is my kind of food.
Save me the fettuccine.
New Kraft microwave entrees. Your kind of food on the shelf.
The switch is on. Over the past 6 years, more than 120,000 Cadillac owners have turned in their keys and turned to Lincoln. The reasons why? Lincoln Town Car. Now for $19.91 with a more powerful V8 engine that helps make Town Car the smoothest riding, quietest car you can own. And the front-wheel drive Lincoln Continental, further refined for $91 with 10% more horsepower. It's a key fact. Lincoln is what a luxury car should be.
Everybody knows that milk's for babies, charming, disarming, whatever they do. Everybody knows that milk's for babies. Wouldn't you know it, baby? Milk's for you. Soft baby skin, strong baby bones, a bright baby smile, and ooh, great muscle tone. Wouldn't you know it, baby? Milk's for you. It's a health kick, baby.
Grandy's never scrimps on dinners like our famous country fried steak, 6-piece chicken nuggets, and 2-piece chicken dinner. We thought you wouldn't mind if we scrimped on one little thing, the price.
Grandy's cooks.
Choose any of these 3 dinners, now only $2.99 at Grandy's.
The destruction around south central Kansas would be around a lot longer and the devastation a lot harder to take if it weren't for the relief workers volunteering their time. Many have come from across the country to help, but the goodwill also comes from right here in Kansas. Tonight, Kim Setti looks at the Good Samaritans who are making the tragedy a little more bearable.
I think where you would be best, and I'd like for you to check, is at the Red Cross Center, which is
the day after the tornado struck south central Kansas, Kansas-owned volunteer disaster team went into action, the Mennonite Disaster Service. Many of those volunteers had helped in last year's Heston tornado.
This is a lot worse than Heston. Heston was bad, but this is a lot worse. They're still finding bodies.
MDS was let into town before most outsiders were actually let in. Police knew their reputation to do what they can to help, as they do whenever a disaster strikes.
It's a real eye-opener. It's a real eye-opener. It's hard to believe until you really see it. You help people they're taking their lives out of their homes and trying to salvage whatever they can. And it's just such devastation.
It seemed like the right thing to do. I would want somebody to help me if I had this sort of thing.
I saw all the need that's out here. There's a lot of work to be done, and I'm going to do all I can. Took off of work this afternoon and thought it'd be worth coming out.
Many of the Mennonites live within driving distance of the area and come here every day.
Would you like something to drink? Could we get you something?
But ironically, the folks who come the farthest, sometimes across country and too far to drive, spend most of their time behind the wheel of a Red Cross mobile unit, spending long hours doing tedious work.
7 in the morning to 8:30 at night, sometimes 7. It all depends on how much you covered in the route, and tired we'll be, but there's a commitment that we made and we're going to follow through with it. Just flash juice, that's all I need.
Most of these workers have committed to at least 3 weeks in the area, away from their families. Others locally are doing what they can.
Sandwich and glass of juice.
If I can give them a smile, maybe that helps, you know. There's so much destruction that it saddens me. So I feel like if I can even give them a smile, maybe it'll help.
When you see that red truck coming, what do you think?
Thank you. That's about the size of it, thank you. It's a big help, it really is.
Can I get a couple of these take back down the trailer park? You want boxes? Yeah. Sure.
There is no shortage of food for any of the volunteers. At daybreak last Saturday, food vendors such as Pizza Hut set up in the devastated areas. This group already had pizzas ready to go even before the tornado struck.
One of the things we had planned today with the parade downtown, we had like 100 volunteers from Pizza Hut and had a whole bunch of pizza made up to support the effort downtown. Then when that was postponed, we felt like the thing to do is to come out here and feed all the people that were working that really didn't have anything hot to eat.
We got water, we got lemonade, we got...
Lemonade. Other folks don't have the financial backing of a corporation, but they want to help out just the same.
Thank you.
Folks in South Wichita banded together to feed the needy and call themselves the Care Force.
Okay, thank you very much.
We have our house and our family, and nobody got hurt. We only need our house reshingled and a shed. And our neighbors, when we look out our back window, they have nothing. And the need is there. And there's only one way to help them, and that's just to go do it.
Fitch was actually hospitalized for exhaustion this week after feeding more than 1,000 meals by Wednesday. She was released from the hospital, but ordered to take it easy. Taking it easy was definitely not in the game plan for one emergency medical service worker this week. Chris Davis' home was destroyed in the tornado, and his daughter and her nurse trapped inside. Once, though, he found out Friday night the two women were okay, he dropped everything he was doing and headed to Andover to help victims there.
I assumed there was nothing left, and I thought there's no sense in even messing with that. I've got my family. That's really all that counts at this point. I can sit here and pull my hair out all night and be frantic, or I can go help somebody else.
maybe.
And it's that kind of spirit that has helped to make the situation as bearable as possible and been the good side, if there is one, in a horrible tragedy. Kim Setti, Eyewitness News, Butler County.
And the volunteers came from everywhere. Yesterday, students came out to join in the cleanup. They took their classroom from inside to outdoors, where you really learn a lesson about life. Lance West has more on that story.
These Cape and Mount Carmel seniors are learning a valuable lesson. One of charity, not financial, but physical.
Got it.
115 students are donating their time, pitching in with tornado cleanup. The extra hands come as welcome relief to John and Guida Lee Morley. There's nothing left of their Sedgwick County home, but with these students' help, they will start again.
It makes me feel wonderful, and I feel great appreciative of what these boys and girls are doing. And you just can't hardly express words in your feelings for what they're doing for us. And I don't know, it seems like everybody is so sympathetic to us, and you can't. We all appreciate that very, very, very much.
The help is absolutely amazing. You can't say thanks enough. And people have been absolutely amazing to give themselves as well as their time. The young people that are out here now, I believe it's Cape and Mount Carmel, have just been tremendous, as well as everybody else. And truly, at this time, you can't say thanks enough.
For these Cape and seniors, a day of sweat and hard work never felt so good.
You just get a good feeling inside. I mean, to know that you're helping these people. I mean, because when we first got here, it was just big, you know. I mean, it didn't look that, real bad. It's kind of real ripped up and everything. But, I mean, I don't know, it's kind of neat because it just brings the whole class together. I mean, you can feel a lot of the class unity right now. That's why I like it. It's just kind of a neat feeling.
If my house had been struck by a tornado, I would just want somebody out there helping me. We're just trying to just be helpful and just do something good for somebody else who needs it.
That makes it feel good, you know. It's kind of a different pace, better than going to school. So, you know, just came out here and helped somebody.
Whatever the reasons, these students are making a difference. And it's one lesson they'll likely never forget. Lance West, Eyewitness News, Sedgwick County.
A lot of people have come to help, but the need is still great for tornado victims. We have two guests now to talk to live. The first is Sally Northcutt from the Salvation Army to talk with us about people's needs right now. Sally, thank you very much for being with us.
Hi, Susan.
First of all, Salvation Army was there, moments after the tornado hit. And what's your assessment of the last week? How is it going?
Well, it's been a long and grueling week for the victims, trying to find the right point for help, and for the volunteers, and for the social workers, and for everybody that turned out to help.
How is the effort of the Salvation Army and the other organizations there to help been going?
Well, we now have 3 centers open. We're trying to respond to needs as people indicate pockets of the town that we just are kind of discovering need assistance, and we've been very busy in the Oaklawn area and in Hayesville, and of course out in Andover.
And let's talk a little bit about the Hayesville-Oaklawn area, because we've looked to Andover so often because there were so many deaths there, but the need is also great right here in Wichita.
The area that was hit in both Oaklawn and Hayesville were isolated patches, and it's an area of the city and a community that's extremely proud. It works very hard, and in many ways it's been difficult for them to ask for help.
What has changed in the past 8 days? How much has been rebuilt, cleared away? How have you seen the area changed in both Andover and Wichita?
Well, a lot of cleanup effort everywhere, but people still grieving for what they've lost, their family pictures, and things like that that have made their lives extremely difficult this week. For the first 3 or 4 days, it felt to me like we were in just a time warp, and it was difficult for people to come out of their homes and to begin the cleanup efforts. They were just devastated.
And I guess that's what we should remember, even though we all want to go on, we should remember the grieving process. The initial grief took several days and will last for several months more.
I'm not even sure when we see the end in sight. We continue to see hundreds of people every day offering spiritual counseling, offering emergency financial assistance, groceries, clothing, personal items, things like that.
We'll get to what folks need in a minute, but let's comment on the volunteers for a while.
Well, a lot of people have come forward, and out of all this devastation, what I see is a real circle of affection building around these areas that have been so devastated. Our volunteers are making friends in that area of town that they never knew before, and people are coming back and forth and calling one another by their first names and sharing meals and sharing stories.
Sally, physically, how have you seen the area change in the last 8 days?
Physically, I've seen a lot of progress towards cleanup. I've done a lot of the operational things, so I have not tracked every day at every site, but we certainly have made a lot of progress. A lot of families still in the process of cleanup.
Obviously, there are still a lot of great needs out there. Let's get to the basics. I understand folks have enough clothing. What can people bring out if they still feel like they want to help?
Bottled water, items for the household. It takes, if you ever think about what you have just in your kitchen, it takes a lot of items to rebuild your kitchen. So dishes, pots and pans, those sorts of things, personal need items, anything that people generally buy for themselves at the store, they could buy too and share with the victims.
Okay. Do you have a personal story coming out of this tragedy that you'd like to share?
There's been a lot of them. I think today a woman returned to her home in the Oaklawn area to find that it had been devastated. She'd been traveling all the way from Texas to get back up there. And the taking of someone that's like 76 years old and having to help them go through their stuff and relocate and find a place to live. And of course, housing is a big factor right now because people would like to stay in their neighborhoods close to their friends and close to people that care for them. So today we spent some time helping a lady down at St. Bartholomew's relocate into and get people together to help her begin to kind of reclaim things. It's been a highly emotionally charged week for everybody, and people keep coming back into our centers, and we've made some good friends in all of those. And we're extremely grateful to the community of Wichita that's helped the Salvation Army do what we've done.
And in turn, Sally, I want to say, I'm sure I'm speaking for everybody to say the community of Wichita and Andover is indeed grateful to the Salvation Army for all the work that it has done.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for being with us, Sally Northcutt from the Salvation Army. We now have Mike Wemmer of the American Red Cross live in West Wichita. Mike, first I'd like to ask you, you set up a lot of service areas. How is it going for the American Red Cross right now?
I guess it's hard to say that it's going good or well in a situation like this, but as far as the centers, the service centers that we have set up, everything is going very smooth at this point. We get a little concerned sometimes, thinking that possibly not all victims know of all the assistance that is available to them, and we like to emphasize to all the victims that they do indeed need to go ask for help, because it's not just asking, it's there for them for times like this.
Just in the past couple days, you say they are so grateful to the Red Cross. You give something different than food and clothing. What is it that the American Red Cross gives?
Well, Sally, basically we're helping family get back to I guess a normal way of life at this point, trying to get them situated into a household setting again. And to do that, it requires a lot of resources from a lot of different folks and a lot of different agencies. We get involved with the food, the clothes, the new appliances, the new household furnishings. basic medical needs that people have, maybe eyeglasses or prescriptions, hospital bills when the insurance is not adequate or not available, even burials in this case.
Basically, though, and all that requires money, basically, and that's what the American Red Cross is asking people in Wichita and Butler County for, right?
Yes, it is. We've had a very, very good response. The United Way gave us $500,000. The public has just come through so great on this. We've had many, many companies and just individuals sending in checks, not only to the Red Cross, but other agencies as well. And that really is what makes this work.
I know if people want to send money, they can send it to the American Red Cross, and that will go directly to victims, right?
Yes, it does.
Okay. What have you seen changing in the last 8 days? Give us an overview of the last 8 days.
Well, I guess people's spirits after the first few days maybe start picking up some. But we had a volunteer come back today from one of our food runs in the area and said the gentleman came out of the house and is in still a state of shock. Sally mentioned that this does not end anytime soon. This goes on for days, weeks, months, and sometimes, even longer. Changes, I think people will start feeling like their lives maybe are starting to come back together. They will see the cleanup go on, which is a difficult period, but they will still start see new buildings going up, and that's going to give encouragement to those people.
You provide a lot of physical relief, but I'm sure a lot of emotional too. I'm sure a lot of folks come into your service centers emotionally drained.
Definitely. Even the workers and volunteers and the victims. I guess everybody is sort of in the same boat. Everyone is tired. There's a lot of long hours, whether they're out cleaning up or whether they're just worried about what they're going to do next. And the workers are working long hours providing that assistance, and it's difficult. It's not easy to be from either Wichita and your home was not affected, or from out of state. We have several people from out of state helping us. And to sit and listen to people's stories and be able to give encouragement to them, it's not easy to do. And I think in this instance, in this area of the country, we see such an unusual outpouring of, human kindness. And that is people helping people and friends and relatives looking out after each other.
What else does the American Red Cross need, or are you just asking for monetary relief from folks?
Well, all of the items that we provide are new, and so we're not really collecting the items. We try to direct those donations to the community agencies that are doing that. So money, as far as the Red Cross is concerned, because that does get turned into the assistance given to people. I think I would just stress that the emotional needs of people are as great as the physical needs. And we hope now that the physical needs are, at least in a basic sense, taken care of, and that will get better. And then the emotional need is, I think, what we all need to pay attention to, and that is to not forget and, put our arm around people and give them a nice warm hug.
Very good advice, because the emotional scars will last far longer than the physical scars. Mike, one last question. Do you have a personal story that you'd like to share?
We had two people that were on their way from somewhere in the Mideast, one of the other states, and they were close by when the tornadoes happened. And they have stopped, and they're on their way to Colorado. They have stopped, they're putting themselves up for a week, and they're helping as volunteers. That's it's not totally unusual, but it does happen, and it's certainly encouraging when you see people passing through and they're willing to stop and help your own community.
Thank you very much for being with us, Mike, and I think I speak again for the whole community when I say thank you to the American Red Cross for all the help this week.
Thank you.
And I think Mike also made a very good point. We are starting the rebuilding process, but folks who were victims of the tornado, either by property or by losing a loved one, are going to need our emotional help for weeks, months, possibly even years to come. And we should remember to lend that little hug or little word, a couple words of support. Let's go back to Roger Cornish now in Andover with more. Roger.
Susan, you mentioned rebuilding. As you can see behind me, just 8 days after the tornadoes, people have already begun rebuilding homes and businesses. Lance West takes a look at the rebuilding process and what lies ahead.
More than 1,000 homes are unlivable thanks to last week's tornadoes, but that number is slowly being reduced. Damaged houses are crashing down, new ones are shooting up in their place. Workers are well on their way to finishing this Andover duplex. Roof trusses are already going up only a week after the foundation was picked clean.
4.5.
Unfortunately, some builders don't measure up. Tornado victims are being warned to watch for fly-by-night contractors who are out to turn a quick profit. Reliable contractors are licensed, bonded, and have permits.
It's just a way for the city to help the homeowner ensure that he gets a quality home, and there are no hassles with our code compliance people.
Quality builders will be busy this summer. This team will pound out one job, then it's off to another, then another, gradually cutting down the list of damaged homes.
Busy. Don't have to worry about going to work, layoff or anything like that, you know. So overtime and just
keeping busy.
Busy.
And it's been busy at the Andover Pizza Hut as well. Workers are adding final touches for the grand reopening Monday. It's hard to believe it's only been a week since the tornado ripped it apart.
You put the volunteerism, you know, into the equation. It's just been marvelous. People off the street stopping by saying, "What can I do to help?"
I understand that you plan on reopening the doors Monday.
You bet. We'll be here just like normal, waiting for all these folks that are our neighbors. We're waiting for them to come back. Look forward to it.
And most neighbors will likely bounce back, but from the looks of things, it'll be a long, trying process. Lance West, Eyewitness News, Andover.
And if you have any questions about contractors, you can call the Wichita Area Builders Association at 265-4226. The tornado's destruction left many residents, as you've already seen, homeless and with the monumental task of searching for a new place to live to replace their damaged or destroyed homes. 2 tornado victims are counting their blessings tonight and resting comfortably in their new temporary home. Cheryl Burton has their special story about survival and recovery.
This is what's left of Frank and Edna Lee Higley's home at 2135 Bedford in southeast Wichita. What took 15 years to build took only a few minutes to demolish.
I didn't realize the doggone close. Well, I says, we better get out of here now. So we would come out the door and got just across the street, and I could feel the wind starting to come in then. We got down the basement just in time.
That basement was just across the street, here at the Stoles' home.
I saw them coming and I yelled for them to come to the back door so we could get them into the basement with us. They're my good neighbors. Yeah, I really was proud that I had a place for them because that was horrible.
That was the luckiest blow we ever had because we wouldn't have been around if it hadn't been for her basement. That's for sure, because the neighbor over north there, Mrs. Rierick, she was covered up with debris and they had to dig her out.
After the storm ripped through the Greenwich Housing Division, Frank came outside to assess the damage.
Come outside and looked out. Where's my house? It's gone. Boy, everything's gone. Completely everything, just swept everything out. But we're still alive and thankful we're alive.
Ironically, the document that certifies his entry into life was found over 100 miles northeast of their home in the yard of a Topeka woman.
A lady and Mrs. Novak in Topeka, Kansas, they had some damage to trees in the backyard, and she went out there to look at a tree. She found this piece of paper hanging in the tree, and Frank Glenn Higley was on that birth certificate. My gosh.
She has since mailed the certificate to Frank. They will put it with some of their other valuables they've recovered, like these tractors and old tools. But those things that weren't salvageable were cleared away and put into a pile to burn with all the debris from the aftermath.
It's heartening. It really is. But kind of getting weaned away from it now a little bit. But a couple of days ago, it just terribly heartening.
When you look at the bulldozer take that piano.
It just breaks your heart. But that's one of my wife's specials.
Last Friday's tornadoes destroyed the Higleys' home and totaled both of their family cars. But Frank managed to save his 77-year-old Model T Horn from one of them. And thanks to one family member, Frank and Edna Lee not only have a car to drive, but they are calling this place home.
We lucked out there too. My sister and her husband own this rental property, and it happened to be vacant. It's fully furnished, and so we just don't have any complaints.
My brother-in-law had said, "You take that vehicle, so you got to take that car, and anything you want to use it, it's yours out here." So he's a big-hearted fella, Eugene Moser.
And one thing this house has the old house didn't have is shelter.
That's when you had to pump the gas by hand, pump it up.
The Higleys say they will enjoy their new home temporarily because in a few weeks they will have to find another place to live. You see, this house had been previously rented out and the lease begins the 1st of July. But Edna says this whole experience, no matter how bad it has been, she has learned one important lesson. When searching out for their next home, it has to have one requirement.
I'll tell you what's first on the list is a sturdy basement.
These old family pictures they were lucky enough to find out of the debris and these glass trays that managed to go untouched in the storm will serve as reminders of what happened one Friday evening in April of 1991. But the fact that they're here today to tell their story will be the biggest reminder of all.
There's a reason for everything, and there's good in everything. We just have to remember that. So what is a home and a couple of cars that you lose? What is that compared to your life that's been spared? There's just no comparison. Really makes you grateful.
Cheryl Burton, Eyewitness News, Wichita.
The Higleys haven't yet decided whether they will rebuild their home or buy an existing home, but they say either way they will be staying in Wichita. Among the groups rebuilding in Andover is the congregation of St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Church. That church was destroyed by the tornado 8 days ago.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Nancy.
Oh, God, I gotta see it to believe it. I just can't. Tell me why God does this. Can you explain it to me? Such devastation to all these people.
God doesn't do it, Nancy. God doesn't do bad things. And it's hard for people in a time like this to understand that.
Philip was so worried that you were dead.
It's death and resurrection. And I'm okay. Sticks and stones and flesh and bone. And you don't have resurrection without death once in a while.
Is this what they were going to do? This is the quilt they were... Yeah, here's the quilt, but...
All growth involves pain. Your feet grow too big and your shoes get too tight when they pinch. But this is painful growth. It's not the kind of growth we would want, but it's a part of life. And it was a part of the mission of Jesus, and it's a part of our mission in this time. You know, we planned all of that around all of these trees, and now we have no trees. You know, some people look at this and they see the past. Their whole past is gone, wiped away. And some people look at it and see only the present devastation, all this mess and all this tragedy. And some people look at it and see the future. And I hope, as a leader, I can help them see that.
Usually there's someone here at church. Luckily, there was no one.
We had a lot of people really concerned about here, and I'm much more concerned about there and there. And I'm trying to direct the people to understand that that's where the need is right now. You know, we will have a church someday again. I don't have a doubt about that. Watch the glass, kids, okay?
Yeah.
I'm a futurist. And it's easy for me to look at this and see the seeds of hope and growth and new life, and I know that will happen because I know these people.
And the congregation will be celebrating Mass tomorrow morning at Andover High School in the high school gymnasium, and I would imagine that with or without their building, that Mass will be a special service for many of those people. I'm Roger Cornish reporting live from a battered but rebuilding Andover, Kansas. Susan?
Thank goodness. Okay, thank you, Roger. Unfortunately, when you start adding up the costs of last week's storms, the most stark statistic is the loss of human life. 19 people died from injuries suffered in the tornado. The youngest victims were 5-year-old Anna Marie Cravens and her 2-year-old sister Susie. The girl's mother said goodbye at a midweek funeral.
Our last thoughts to you. Treasure your loved ones. Do not ever waste a minute with them. No matter how small, how big, how young, how old. Hug them, kiss them, and tell them that you love them. We never know what God's plan is for all of us. Life is so very precious.
I just wanna take it slow. I just wanna taste that's rich. Introducing Kraft 1898 barbecue sauce. Slowly simmered the old-fashioned way for a rich, rich taste. I just wanna take it slow. I just wanna taste that's rich. New Kraft 1898. Slowly simmered for a rich, rich taste.
Grandy's never scrimps on dinners like our famous country fried steak, 6-piece chicken nuggets, and 2-piece chicken dinner. We thought you wouldn't mind if we scrimped on one little thing: the price.
Grandy's cooks.
Choose any of these 3 dinners, now only $2.99 at Grandy's.
For what?
Join us Saturday night following Eyewitness Weekend when we present this week's magnificent movie, Key Largo. Innocent people are threatened by a gang of hoods in this classic drama starring Humphrey Bogart. When the hoods take over a hotel in the Florida Keys, they threaten the proprietor and his family. Bogart, a guest at the hotel, is also captured and has a battle of wits with the gang's leader. But will they be wiped out by the gangsters or the terrible hurricane which is bearing down on their tiny resort? Find out when we present Key Largo this Saturday following Eyewitness Weekend.
Welcome to Hardee's Math. 1 + 1 + 1 = 1. Yes, right now at Hardee's, 3 regular hamburgers equal $1. 6 burgers equal $2. 9 burgers $3. And 12 burgers equal only $4. 12 is the limit, so let's review. At Hardee's, 1 + 1 + 1 equals class 1. But only for a limited time, so don't be tardy. Class, no running in the halls.
Dealing with a disaster of last week's nature is, of course, no easy task. Rebuilding lives, homes, relocating, it, of course, can all be very stressful. Health Matters reporter Tracy West tells us the road to recovery may be long and painful, but there is help.
Picking up the pieces of lives that were so violently shattered in last week's tornado is no easy task. With loss of numerous lives and the extent of damage so severe, the storm is fast becoming one of the most devastating disasters in south central Kansas history. Unfortunately, the healing process is just beginning.
Stress is a great motivator. These people that have to go out and rake their properties and do this and do that and that stuff. Stress, if they can handle it, becomes eustress. If they cannot handle stress, it becomes distress. They get chest pain, they get headaches, they get physically ill, they're not taking care of themselves, they're unhappy, they're angry.
Many victims of last week's disaster may experience what's called delayed stress syndrome or post-traumatic stress, where tornado victims turn their attention from need and start confronting some of their reactions to the violent storm.
And it felt like I was being dragged by a car, you know, about 7,500 miles an hour down the road, and then I was lifted up into the air and dropped down twice. We were frightened to death.
What kind of emotions were you feeling?
Well, I tell you, my baby, Charisma, saved my baby's life. And if I would have had her, she would have been gone. But I heard her crying through the whole thing.
How do you feel now?
Lucky to be alive.
And that your child's alive?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lucky that everybody in my family's alive.
I don't think everybody needs to run to a doctor and ask for medication. That's a cop-out to me. I think to look back with an idea that, wait a minute, I need to be more in tune to me. I need to learn how to relax. I need to take not everything for granted. I need to be able to say no.
And talking helps.
Yeah.
A lot of people experienced a lot of stress last Friday night. Doctors say confronting your feelings about the storm is good therapy on your road to recovery. One of the best ways to do that is by simply talking about your experiences with a professional or with a loved one. Tracy West, Eyewitness News, Wichita.
And with me now, as you saw in the videotape, is Dr. Neil Alderati to lend us some advice on both how tornado victims can be helped and how we can help victims of the tornado. Thank you very much for being with us, Dr. Alderati. I guess the first question is because we just came out of 3 pieces of very, very emotional videotape. It makes us cry. And we want to do something to help those people. What can we do?
Susan, I really don't think there's an easy answer. I think being there for people, knowing and telling people that whatever they need, just give them a call. I think sometimes when you overwhelm people and it becomes stressful, I think it's just a tragedy. Nobody will ever forget this. I think a lot of times even fellow Kansans have taken tornadoes and storms for granted. I think that now the next time we hear a siren or a policeman comes down the streets, we're going to really seriously think about and remember what we've seen tonight and for the last 8 days, and remember that, and then be there for ourselves and for our neighbors and for our community. This is a serious tragedy.
If you have a question of Dr. Alderati, you can call the number on the screen. There are people, we're just starting the rebuilding process, and it's a lot easier to physically rebuild, and there may be people out there that think in a couple of months after we're physically rebuilt that we're emotionally rebuilt too, but we should remember that that takes a lot longer.
I think we're just starting to see some of the post-shock and disbelief. We're getting a lot more calls at the office now more than 3 or 4 days right after the incident, because you know, when we used to take things for granted, going to bed, reaching for a phone, reaching for a toothbrush, just the little things in life. When some of these people have nothing, they walked out of their cellars and everything's gone, they've got to start literally from the beginning.
And you have seen an increase in phone calls this week then?
Oh, tremendous.
Yeah. What are people calling and saying?
Well, they're afraid of the storms. They're afraid of the weather. When they hear the weather reports, is this going to happen again? I'm still hearing and seeing the devastation. I have noise. I can't sleep. I feel chest pain. I just feel nauseated. I just see all this devastation and I'm sick. I don't feel like going and getting out of my house. I don't feel like doing a thing.
And what do you advise most folks?
Well, like Tracy said in her story before, you've just got to try to have faith, to be thankful, and to seek people out, which is real difficult. Talking about this is not easy. Like you said, it's much easier to physically rebuild something than to deal with things emotionally.
And that's something that a lot of people, there's a lot of unemotional people, obviously, in this world, and no doubt in our audience, that don't want to let it out. But it will reoccur down the road, will it, if the emotion is not let out now?
Oh, yes. There are a lot of things in all of our pasts that we've tried to forget. And depending on the severity and an inability or an ability to deal with it, you become very dysfunctional and unhappy most of your life. Until you eventually, sooner or later, either get worse or get sick enough that you realize that you can't keep it in any longer.
Okay. We have some phone calls now. Hello, you're on News Talk. Do you have a question of Dr. Alderati?
Yes. I live in South Wichita, and our mobile home park was partially destroyed. And the next morning when I brought my kids in, they were just kind of like stunned, and they still haven't been right. Is there anything that I can do to help counsel the children, myself as parents, or what?
Well, I think it's real important to provide these children an avenue. Sometimes they may feel inhibited by talking to their parents. In the newspaper, there are several agencies that are allowing free counseling. I know there's some at my clinic, and there's some at the Red Cross, and there's some others. We have it throughout the day. I would seek the agencies that you could take advantage of, and sir, I would not hesitate to take advantage of any and all of them.
Basically let them talk, though,
I would
they want.
let them talk and talk and talk and talk.
And it was all right to show them the devastation,
yes.
was it not? Okay. All right, let's get to another phone call. Hello, you're on News Talk. Your question?
Hi, I'm one of the fortunate ones that the tornado just missed me. And as I was driving past the power lines and down trees with my kids, it was hard to explain to them the devastation. And now they have many friends that have lost their homes, and I have friends that lost their homes, and I have a hard time explaining to them that how lucky we are and how unfortunate their friends are, and they're kind of reacting in a rebellious way, kind of.
Maybe they're feeling a little bit guilty.
Yes, they are, because they were lucky.
As a lot of people that have been on all the channels recently have stated, a lot of people deal with stress and this devastation differently. They will get angry, they will get isolative, they can get depressed, they can just withdraw, they can take it out on their loved ones. They can become depressed, they can become violent, they can start doing some real self-destructive things if they don't deal with this.
They need to deal with it. I think this lady brings up a good point. What about the guilt? I'm sure she's feeling a little bit guilty too. And there were several stories in our report tonight that neighbors looked out the window of their own home that was not destroyed and saw their neighbors' homes completely gone. What do you do with that guilt, both for the children and the parents?
That's a real difficult question. I guess what you can, as is evident by everything that we're seeing on the news, the town and the community and all of central Kansas is getting together behind all of this, and we're all volunteering. It's unfortunate. It's fate. What happens, nature is devastating. Sometimes things just don't follow the regular patterns. I would tell these unfortunate neighbors that you're there, anything that you can do. But I think they really understand. It's just that right now it's a real fragile time because everybody still doesn't know where they're coming or going from, and everybody's emotional, or they're withdrawn, or they're shut down. They're trying to rebuild, they're trying to regroup. They've done a lot of things, that we've taken a lot of things for granted. Now, as everybody is stating, and I fully agree, this is a time of rebuilding. This is a time of being thankful. I think that unfortunately, a lot of times out of tragedy, we learn the hard way.
Yeah, we sure do.
What to appreciate in life, what not to appreciate in life, etc.
Let's take another phone call. Hello, you're on News Talk. Your question, please.
Hi, I was curious about, I have a 2.5-year-old. We were involved in the tornado. And though our house was spared, our neighbors' homes are completely gone, and all his toys are gone. And how do you communicate with a 2.5-year-old about the dangers and yet of tornadoes and stormy weather, and yet not getting so paranoid that by the time he's 5, he's a basket case?
Yeah.
Again, you can do counseling for 2-year-olds. There are a lot of children that could benefit. Again, if you don't feel you're getting the message across, I would seek some professional help of some sort.
But basically, what would you tell children in a situation like this? What can a parent tell a child? Is there any secret sentence or formula?
God, if I knew that,
yeah.
I would just try to be as simplistic, but to tell them that, this is an act of nature. We have no control over this. The next time you hear these noises, from now on that you're going to have to get cover, whether mom and dad are here or you're in charge of your siblings. Get down to a safe place. This is why we try to teach you what's important.
Okay.
To make each day count.
And I think Dr. Alderati made the best point of all. Out of tragedy, at least we realize what is important in life. Thank you very much for being with us, Dr. Alderati. We'll be back with some more amazing home videotape of the storm right after this.
What was it like to feel the house moving with you inside it?
Well, I didn't even move till it got out. It was just a nice, gentle ride.
If you want to save money, watch closely. You can get high-octane gasoline here, here, and here. You can also get it at Coastal, with one big difference. Coastal high-octane premium gasoline costs less. Cash or credit, same low price. And that can save you a lot of money every time you fill up at Coastal.
Hey, John, big date with Cindy tonight, huh?
Yeah, and I'm without wheels.
Well, buddy, picture this. Cindy steps into a brand new Ford Ranger, slides across the seat to get close, turns on some romantic music and whispers, "Let's drive."
Whoa! Oh, you're the best friend in the world. You're gonna let me use your brand new Ranger, aren't you?
Are you kidding? I was thinking more like taking Cindy out myself.
Grandy's never scrimps on dinners like our famous country fried steak, 6-piece chicken nuggets, and 2-piece chicken dinner. We thought you wouldn't mind if we scrimped on one little thing, the price.
Grandy's cooks.
Choose any of these 3 dinners, now only $2.99 at Grandy's.
Attention American Family policyholders. Soon an American Family Insurance claim team will arrive in your area. If you've incurred damage or loss from the recent storm activity, please report it immediately to your American Family agent. Your agent will make arrangements to have your claims settled by the claims team. By reporting your losses directly to your agent, your claim will receive the fastest possible attention. Once again, if you need assistance, contact your local American Family Insurance agent or call the Catastrophe Office at 684-6763.
Not all of the victims of the Andover tornado were allowed to seek shelter, namely pets. And as Kevin Nunn reports, some of those victims were killed, unfortunately. Others were injured. Others are still missing.
W.C. Fields once said, "It's a night not fit for man nor beast." Such a night was April 26th here in Andover. And while we all recognize the fate of man in this community, the fate of the beasts here is just now being realized.
This shelter at the Golden Spur Mobile Home Park saved many lives, but the people who took cover here had to leave their pets behind. This Cocker Spaniel was one of them. Rescue worker Steve Durst found the little dog amidst a pile of rubble that used to be a mobile home.
Don't get under it. After some trouble, we finally got her caught and got her warmed up and dried off and put in the van, and she just went to sleep and didn't really seem to care to leave.
This little Cocker Spaniel, called Precious, is lucky. Its family saw her on TV, and now they are back together.
Oh, yes.
Thank God that we got her back, and losing everything else is nothing. My family's safe, my dog's safe. That's all I can ask for.
Other pet owners have not been as fortunate.
Okay, check with them, and if you do find them, then contact us again so we can mark you off. Okay.
The Andover Veterinary Clinic has been serving as a command center, attempting to get owners and their pets reunited.
There isn't anything in the house left.
We couldn't find nothing.
So we just thought that she was somewhere, dead somewhere.
The Kellys have their dog Susie back. She suffered a broken leg and internal injuries when the tornado leveled their mobile home.
Usually she was outside and we didn't have too much to do with her because she was outside dog, but I feel different now.
She's more special.
We've got 2 still running loose that we cannot catch. We've got 2 unaccounted for, I think, and 4 that we know are dead.
Harry Rutherford's kennel was destroyed along with several of the dogs inside.
I thought I was going to find all of them dead. I was totally amazed when I saw the first dog a quarter of a mile south of my house.
Many animals are still homeless. A stressful situation on animal and owner alike.
We have a friend who's in Wesley Hospital. She lost her home. She was in her home when it collapsed. Her main concern at this moment is that she's lost her animals, a couple of cats and dog, I believe, and no one has found them. That's more of a sorrow to her than the loss of her home.
Animals still at large here in the Andover area are suffering from shock, according to veterinarians, a condition made worse by the noise and confusion of cleanup here. Those same veterinarians say it may be weeks or even longer before all of the stray animals are accounted for. Kevin Nunn, Eyewitness News, Andover.
If you lost an animal in the storm, there is still hope. You can contact the Kansas Humane Society. It's offering its shelter for housing animals left alone due to the storm. And Humane Society volunteers are working to capture animals still at large in the Andover area. The number at the Humane Society is 683-6596. The dramatic videotape of last week's tornado has been seen by people from Europe to South America. Here's another look at the April 26th tornado through the eyes of several of the area's amateur photographers.
A little bit of hail.
And if you just tuned in, we have a tornado warning in effect until 6:45 for eastern Sedgwick County. Tornado reported on the ground in the vicinity of Clearwater. That's the one that you heard John Wright describing a few moments ago.
Well, it's coming.
Come on, we gotta go.
Hang on, Heather.
Where are we going? Where are we gonna go? Dad, where are we gonna go? Huh?
There ain't no place to go. You can't run from one of them.
Well, what can we do, Dad? Dad, what can we do?
We're gonna go get in the closet there with louver doors.
Definite tornado. Man. Awesome. Oh, jeez.
going to be a very wide one. Let's check in once again further south.
What's it doing? Oh, I got the whole thing. Now, that's good, honey. Don't go any further closer.
Running back into
Oh,
the rain as
jeez.
the storm continues to move through this part.
Wow.
I've been trying to listen to officers down in the Hayesville area to get some more information on that tornado.
Honey, be careful.
It's going to be around 55th South and
Is it going away from us?
Officers are reporting maybe 10 to 15 houses in Hayesville that have been damaged by the tornado.
Is it going away from us?
Saying that there's going to be damage in the area of 55th and Broadway and also 53rd Street South.
I sure hope you're right.
Southeast Wichita, this is your neighborhood. Moving out of the McConnell Air Force Base area into southeast Wichita around Army and Rock Road. The tornado is on the ground. And damage is occurring with this storm. This is a very dangerous storm.
That's all right. Come on, let's go.
Look at it. See? Come on. Go, 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 go.
Come on, Michael, come on.
Get there. Go. Tornado on the ground. On the ground. Right here. You better take cover. Get ready. I'm handing you the camera, Dad. Things are flying, man. I'm talking flying. Ready?
Now you can see that videotape over and over again and still cannot believe it. National Storm researchers hope to use some of the videotapes to further their study of tornadoes. We'll have some additional images from the deadly storms of 1991 when we come back.
Look at the trailer over there. That's a frame off of the trailer, and it's just mangled, and yet an egg survives and doesn't even crack.
How can you tell when someone you love needs help? Look for warning signs like anger and violence, loss of control, not being able to cope, inability to sleep or sleeping too much, overwhelming depression. If you or someone you love is in trouble, Charter can help. We offer real solutions to your family's problems.
Call us. If you don't seek help at Charter, please get help somewhere.
Welcome to Hardee's map. 1 + 1 + 1 = 1. Yes, right now at Hardee's, 3 regular hamburgers equal $1. 6 burgers equal $2. 9 burgers $3. And 12 burgers equal only $4. 12 is the limit, so let's review. At Hardee's, 1 + 1 + 1 equals class 1. But only for a limited time, so don't be tardy. Class, no running in the halls.
Spring
Spring is a wonderful thing, and to celebrate the freshest of all seasons, we're having a Spring Thing Stock Up Spectacular. It's a stock up savings opportunity only at this store. The Spring Thing means these brand name favorites, yep, all of them, are being offered at spectacular stock up prices. Remember, it don't mean a thing if you ain't got that spring. Don't miss the big Spring Thing Stock Up Spectacular, April 28th through May 7th at all Wichita Checkers stores.
With 35 years as Wichita's volume car dealer, Davis Moore has seen good sales months and better sales months. But in May, Davis Moore is going to break all the records, and that means money savings to you. They're ready to deal with deep discounts and special purchases. Select from new cars, trucks and vans, and the finest used cars in Wichita. Get a record-breaking deal during the history-making month of May. Shop any of the 12 Davis Moore dealerships and see what a difference a dealership can make.
It's been said that a picture is worth 1,000 words. The pictures from Cowley, Sedgwick, and Butler counties the past week will provide memories for a lifetime. Here are just a few of the dramatic images of the deadly tornado of 1991 and its aftermath.
Don't stay out any longer. Go for cover. It's 81. It just hit my 42. Tearing Andover up. It's got Andover right now. Just hit the chief's house.
Is anybody in there? Oh!
Also, what is the command post location?
Pictures of people I
That
don't
was a
even
big
know.
double-wide trailer right there and one back there.
It's totally
Both
gone.
of them are gone. They don't even know where they're at.
Lucky.
Stay here. Stay here. That tape is incredible. Stay here. What's your... I stepped on one pad. It touched my foot a little bit.
So Andover's on this side, isn't
But
it?
the most of the damage was right up here.
Well,
Save my music.
Hey, bro.
Oh God, I said I gotta see it to believe it. I just can't. Philip was so worried that you were dead.
Oh, Philip, God bless you. I'm okay, huh? How about you?
I can't believe all this.
Doesn't look like the church you knew, does it?
And it's kind of odd to me, that old garage, you know, them walls are still standing.
Oh, it won't come out. Tear it.
Coming up a little bit.
Our time together was so short, so sweet. like something to drink? Could we get you something?
You want some sandwiches?
23 3/4.
We'll have some final thoughts when we return.
I'm happy to be alive. I mean, I'm very happy to be alive and that everyone involved is alive, and I feel a lot of compassion for those people that lost, loved ones.
Introducing Red Lobster's plentiful shrimp sampler, just $6.99. Succulent grilled shrimp, golden fried shrimp, and scampi, all just $6.99 with our new hot fresh bread at Red Lobster.
How about Red Lobster shrimp for lunch? Our lunch shrimp special, just $3.99. Tempting fried shrimp together with scampi, plus all the extras, just $3.99 for a limited time at Red Lobster for lunch.
Cold, crisp Clausen pickles. Most pickles are cooked so they stay warm like this one and sit for months on your grocer's shelf. Not Clausen pickles. They're always packed fresh and stored cold in the refrigerated section so that crisp, cold taste comes through in a snap. So if you think a pickle is a pickle, think again. Think cold, crisp Clausen.
In the 30 years I've been a claims representative with the Farmers Insurance Group of companies, I've seen a lot of changes. But one thing has never changed: our way of helping people in times of need. The Farmers Insurance Group of companies had that special ability back when I was just getting my feet wet, and we've still got it today. I have to admit, it feels good to have been part of something America can depend on.
America can depend on farmers.
It's the Community Band Concert, Saturday, May 11th, during the Wichita River Festival, beginning at 11 a.m. 8 bands from around Kansas and Texas will play on the hour all day long. Come to Douglas Street, just in front of Century 2. You'll hear a variety of your favorite music, from Dixieland to swing to marches. Come to the Community Band Concert, Saturday, May 11th, beginning at 11 a.m., right in front of Century 2 on Douglas. The Community Band Concert, brought to you by Sin City Music and Channel 12.
It's hard to sum up the events of the last week into just 30 seconds. Maybe we can do so by summing up our feelings. Kansans went from numbing shock to disbelief to deep gut-wrenching sadness to sometimes anger, and then finally at the end of the week, hope. Our hope tonight is that however the tornado affected you, you know that others feel for you, and that spring, a season which promises new life, will bring a smooth rebuilding to a broken land and to broken hearts. For Roger Cornish and the entire Eyewitness News staff, I'm Susan Peters. Good night, everyone.
You're watching Channel 12.
President Bush is in the hospital. Next on Eyewitness Weekend, you'll find out what put him there and get the latest on his condition. We'll also continue our coverage of the cleanup from Friday's tornadoes. And these aren't pigs in a poke or pigs in a blanket. So what kind of pigs are they? The answer, plus weather and sports in 2 minutes.
by the Honda Accord, no doubt about it. But this Plymouth Acclaim has more interior room, a larger engine, a longer powertrain warranty. It carries more people, has an airbag, and it costs $1,500 less than Accord. Now, we're not saying that the Accord is second rate, merely second best.
Now get cashback savings with Plymouth's Golden Advantage.
Putting it together.
If you needed to put together a lot of information into a finished document of the highest copy quality, copy on both sides, reduce, enlarge, insert tabs, add covers, and make 12 perfectly bound booklets all in about 10 minutes, then there's only one copier that can do the job, the Xerox 5090, the way to put it together. Faxing, scanning, copying, printing. Xerox, the document company.
Thursday, it's an all-new season of fun on the best night of television. Cosby's back.
That's the fellow I'm in love with.
And it's all new. Then it's Blossom, the new comedy where anything can happen.
Hi, Mom.
Felicia Rashad guest stars on a special Blossom premiere. And it's an all-new Cheers in the new year with
a bunch of deadbeats and freeloaders.
Yeah, you don't want people like that in here.
And the bar is welcoming new neighbors.
Cheers to Wings.
The hit comedy Wings moves to its new night, Thursday, after Cosby, Blossom, and Cheers, only on NBC.
Lottery. Gatto Distributors.
8 minutes, 33 seconds left in the third period. The Irish leading the Buffaloes 9-3. Notre Dame starts from its 35 after the 12-yard punt return by Rocket Ismail. And they give to Waters right up the middle, and he gains, fumbles the ball. A scramble at the 40.
There is a fumble on the play.
And we'll wait for the official announcement. Which way? Colorado says they've got it. They do. It appeared to be Paul Rose, 46, who recovered.
Coming around the block of the tight end, and the ball just bounces to him. It's out now, and it comes right over to Paul. Goes underneath everybody to make the stop. That's really an effort. Colorado has to do something right.
There's a 5-yard gain on the play.
40-yard line. They've got field position. They have to get in there at least for 3 points. If they can't get it here, it looks just like last year's game being repeated.
Credit Chad Brown, 34, with a tackle that dislodged the ball, and Brown has been the defensive star for Colorado tonight. First down at the Irish 40-yard line, the second turnover for Colorado.
Well, look for something. This is the same formation as those off-tackle plays. Look for something else.
It's Bieniemy. Not much there at all. A couple of yards, and they've run on first down.
Yeah, it's 14. There are 15 first downs, Dick. 14 have been runs by Colorado. And you can do that, I think, in the Big 8 and with some of the opposition. But Notre Dame's just too sophisticated to think you're going to dominate them in that fashion. That time they went unbalanced to the wide field and then ran back to the short side.
86, Rico Smith coming in as you see Simmons go out. But Smith, Jr., a JC transfer from Cerritos College, may be the fastest man on the team. They feel he can get deep if anyone can.
10.35 in 100 meters, 3 different times in his life.
They go down the middle, and wide open is the tight end. Sean Brown, first down at the 22.
Well, there was the play pass we talked about. We knew it would come sooner or later. Unbalanced line, fake the run, and then throw it back. So they set it up with those run fakes. Faking the same thing. Now the tight end slipping right down the seam.
It's first down, 22.
And well thrown to Brown.
Now Brown's a prospect in many ways. This guy has got the size. He's the best blocking tight end Colorado's had in many, many years.
So from the 22.
Unbalanced line.
Charles Johnson to Bieniemy. To the 20-yard line. And a good defensive surge again by the white-jerseyed Irish, led by Chris Zorich and Devon McDonald.
Chris Zorich, the tackler.
You'll see an unbalanced line. They will take the left tackle, Solomon, and move him over to the right side. They simply have a guard and a center on the weak side. You'll see right here, and the extra tackle will be on that side. And what they want is to get the defense to shift over and not really adjust adequately because they're really new to that adjustment system with the unbalanced line and extra man to the wide field. There it is again.
Gary Barnett, the offensive coordinator, his first game in that position. Johnson, complete to Hemingway. And the fullback barrels to the 12, close to a first down. He's got a first down, Colorado. Zorich trailing the play, got a piece of him. And did Stonebreaker into Bose, who had trouble getting him to the turf.
Hemingway just loops right out of the backfield. This is something that they haven't been able. This is the first time, Dick, I've seen them do this kind of thing and execute it well enough to get it done. And maybe it's Johnson.
Well, as a man who made a lot of victories happen in that short passing game of yours, you do appreciate the value of a short pass and a run.
Well, it just takes the heat off that Colorado offensive line. They're not going to hammer every play.
And did you use some unbalanced line in the NFL?
We did in the Super Bowl in '81. You want me to go into that litany? I can take 10 or 12 minutes. Dick, there was a time when Billy Ring, get back to this game.
It is not a first down, as you can see. Third and a couple of links on the chain for Bill McCartney's team.
Inches short.
What's your call here? You know Notre Dame's going to stack it up looking for Bieniemy.
Go over the top with Bieniemy. Over the top. Don't try to dig in there. He can jump over the top and make it.
9-3. Notre Dame leads Colorado. 6:19 left in the third period. Third down and inches. Wide open. John Bowman, the tight end, to the 4.
For a first down at the 5. Greg Davis.
17-yard play. Greg Davis made the tackle.
That's pretty darn good. They faked it. Tight end waited, then came back out to the outside. Everybody bit on the run fake. Everybody. Now that takes a little nerve.
That pass by Johnson was not a thing of artistic praise at all, but it flopped its way into the arms of Bowman, who caught 9 passes during the regular season. First and goal. And they go inside with Hemingway for a couple.
They've got to get 6, obviously, or 7 when it's finally done. And if they go over the top, they can get real close on this next play. Don't do anything fancy. They've got their big play off a play fake, but right now go right in there and get the score. If you're number 1, you'll get it right up over the top.
Rico Smith a bit late getting to the huddle with the play.
Dick, that first drive, when they threw the ball twice, right on the goal line, they can't do it this time. They've got to get in there with it on the ground.
Smith way out to the left, and Todd Light takes him. There's the play clock. It's Johnson.
Johnson on the keeper.
Near the goal line. He's to the 1, maybe inside. It was Johnson, as you remember, against Missouri in the infamous 5th down game. With a couple of seconds remaining, Johnson barely squeaked in on a play much like that one to give Colorado a very hard-earned 33-31 win, and some would say hard-earned is hardly the proper description of that victory. Inside the 1. This to take the lead. The enemy. Touchdown. Colorado. Scored 17 times on the ground during the course of the year. Converts the fumble recovery as Colorado has tied it at 9. And now Jim Harper will attempt to give Colorado the lead here late in the third period.
Touchdown by Harper is good.
10-9. The Buffaloes lead with 4:26 remaining in the third.
Brian Campbell, they run right behind that young sophomore guard, and Bieniemy gets his pads down and gets in there and gets it done. Vanderpool, Campbell, Lewinberg got the job done, and that extra point, Dick, remember a year ago, the missed extra point by Colorado knocked them out of the game. This time they get it done.
And it's Lou Holtz's team that has had an extra point missed tonight, and that's the difference in the game, as Colorado, ranked number 1, seeking a national title, has a 1-point advantage.
There are a lot lot of ways to improve your overseas relationships.
Howdy. I know where I'm going. I'm glad the company sent me here to bail you fellas out.
Non, mais attends, il se moque de nous ou quoi, là?
Some work better than others.
You know, there's nothing like combining American dynamism and know-how with French,
Ce mec est un abruti?
a Brody. See, a Brody.
But the best way is simply using the overseas shipping Federal Express.
Tomorrow we hit the beach.
Absolutely, positively, the best in the business.
Chrysler announces the Golden Advantage. Cash back of $500 or $1,000 on Dodge Caravan and Plymouth Voyager, the gold standard of minivans. $1,000 or $2,500 cash back on Jeep Cherokee, the gold standard of four-wheel drives. And $300 to $3,000 cash back on other Dodge, Chrysler, Plymouth, and Jeep Eagle gold standards. The Golden Advantage. The savings are like the quality. Good as gold. Hurry, savings end soon.
From the producer of The Hunt for Red October, from the best-selling novel by Stephen Kuntz, comes the epic adventure of men who took a stand for what they knew was right.
Get in your airplane, sometimes you don't come back.
Danny Glover.
All we really got is each other.
Willem Dafoe.
We never broke the faith, amigo.
Brad Johnson.
You're gonna live!
Flight of the Intruder. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, January 18th at theaters everywhere.
The Oilers, the Bengals, the AFC wildcard game. Sunday.
Back at the Federal Express Orange Bowl in Miami, Colorado has regained the lead at 10-9. Charles Johnson leading his team after the fumble recovery after Waters of Notre Dame lost the ball. 3 for 3 passing. This was the biggest.
This was the running formation in which they're going to drive right up in here. Now you'll see the fake. But Bowman will hit here and then release wide open in the flat. They set it up earlier in the game. They went right inside with that fake. There's Bowman totally uncovered. Well executed, well conceived. Then they took it to them to get the touchdown. They went right in there and got it on the ground. I think Johnson's done a great job. He's played so well every time he's had a chance, and his passing, honestly, is more controlled and more poised than Hagen's. There isn't any question about it.
So Johnson in a reserve role. Isn't it interesting? Last year it was the death of beloved teammate Sal Vanessa that spurred them emotionally through the course of the year as Hagen filled his shoes and still has a picture of Vanessa on his wall. And now it's Hagen that's injured and Johnson takes over with a national title at stake. Rodney Culver lets the ball bounce out of bounds and a 5-yard penalty against Colorado. That gives us a chance to remind you that next Sunday here on NBC Sports, the AFC wildcard game. Coverage will begin at noon Eastern with NFL Live. Messrs. Costas, Simpson, McDonough et al. will take you around the NFL, and then it's game time as the Houston Oilers and the Cincinnati Bengals will go at it, with the winner advancing on to the AFC divisional playoffs against the LA Raiders the following week. That's the AFC wildcard game Sunday, 12:30 Eastern, only on NBC Sports, NFL Live at 12.
That game's got to be as tight as any game in the NFL. Last time Boomer got his team up 40-20.
You like that Cody Carlson, the backup man for Houston?
Cody. I liked him coming out of Baylor. He does all the things Moon does, and with the same poise. So when Warren Moon does step away, I think Carlson will be very, very comparable in that run and shoot offense.
They called the teammates number 14 Pat Bluto, but he told me that's only the pronunciation when it gets below freezing in Boulder. It's Bluto.
Well, Colorado's in trouble here. They kicked off out of bounds. Now they move it back 5, and they still have to be confronted with Ismail.
And he comes up to get it at the 26, the 35. To the 43-yard line. Boy, one of the many strengths of Lou Holtz is what his teams do on kick returns. In his 5 years at Notre Dame, he's had no less than 13 touchdowns off punt and kickoff returns. There it is, 8 of them on kickoff and 5 punts. Timmy Brown being a factor. Ricky Waters has returned a couple, and of course Ismail with 6 himself to tie an NCAA record.
So much of that's just the discipline of his team. Their mechanics, their fundamentals, executing these returns much like they do anything else in the game.
The quick pass to Ismail. He is so quick and so tough. As Lou Holtz has said, that he's like a Pekingese barking at a German Shepherd. He doesn't know how small he is, but that's the kind of competitor inside.
It'll be interesting, Dick, the NFL draft. In my opinion, Ismael is not going to be a guy to draft if you're a team that you're building, that you need big, powerful, tough guys to get over the 500 mark. He's the kind of guy that'll make you fully dimensional if you have a very good or great team.
Is he a wide receiver or running back?
Well, you use a combination, but he's not going to make your franchise. He's not going to do that.
The give to Brooks. He may have fumbled, and the scramble, and Colorado says they have it again. The Buffaloes, who converted the fumble by Waters into the lead 10-9, get it again at the 49-yard line. Leonard Renfro, a freshman from Detroit, and Tim James, the senior safety, were around the football.
The evolution of the minivan is now complete.
Now get cashback savings with Plymouth's Golden Advantage.
I am holding something green and powerful, and it's going to change your weekend.
What, lawn clippers?
I'm picking you up at 4 o'clock.
So where are you taking me?
Reservation for the Newtons?
Yes, ma'am. What else have you got planned?
The whole weekend.
Only one card gives you the privileges of membership. The American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
Over the years, much has changed about the game. Today, the best in the business fly. And the airline that takes over 300 college and pro teams to their chosen field is United. Come fly the friendly skies.
Dear USA, there is a city where marketplaces are full of wonders, where giants play, troubadours entertain, and elves dance. A magical city where the friends you make are friends for life. It's Barcelona. It's in Spain.
Tim James recovered the fumble. A scouting combine at the NFL before the year rated this man as a possible first-round pick, James, and he had a big season, 6 interceptions, a missed handoff by Brooks.
Just a botched handoff. Looks like Meyer goes too far over, and the ball shoots right out of the other side.
And James, the safety man, right up on the line of scrimmage to dig for it and recover for Colorado. They take over at the Irish 49 with a 10-9 lead and 3.5 minutes remaining in the third period. The give to the fullback, and it's Hemingway. Bullying to the 46, Michael Stonebreaker, in on another tackle for Notre Dame. Stonebreaker, who knows how to win in high school. The last 3 years in high school in Louisiana, his teams won 3 state championships and went 44-0, and now he's a member of the winningest senior group in Notre Dame history. Great heritage. His dad was a tough linebacker, and what a name for one. 2nd down, 7.
That guy Zorich is so quick. Jay Lewinberg last year's.
The Rocket will fair catch at his own 22-yard line.
Fair catch.
So the Irish survive another turnover. It remains 10-9. Timeout.
The free safety just sitting back in the hole, and Ismael running a post right toward him, and there wasn't anyone to control that weak safety coming down the field. So you see him looking right at Ismael and going right up for the ball.
Tough interception. He had to fight the Rocket for it.
He's a 220-pound guy. He's going to come down with it most often.
Second down of 4, and the enemy sprints to a first down at the 42. And that big offensive line of the Buffaloes opening up some holes. Stonebreaker and Clark made the tackle.
Stonebreaker at the 42.
Bill McCartney said it's a battle of attrition. They're going at him physically. They're going to wear him down. They've done it to people all year. And just that little touch of Charles Johnson's passing has allowed this team to open up just enough to make these running plays work.
Final seconds of the third period. 10-9 Colorado. First down from the Buffalo 42. Little delay and a give to Hemingway. He's to the 39. Make that the 44 of Notre Dame. Another first down.
That's the first time we've seen them pull a guard and a tackle. Vanderpool pulled, and they got to the outside. Now, if you'll see this action by Campbell, this action through the hole, then the counterplay breaking in, and is set up beautifully for that unbalanced line. Beautiful job. Vanderpool right up in, making the block. Very, very well done.
Right away. Thank you.
Called it just the right time. The first time in the game they've used it, and they set it up with that unbalanced line running strong side.
That's a play the Hogs, the Washington Redskins, have used so effectively in their Super Bowl success years.
Colorado
10-9, number 1 Colorado, and we'll return to Miami after a few words from your local station.
Journey to a place of mystery.
I have come home.
A world of forbidden romance.
It's almost as if we're connected.
Where innocence is destroyed by evil.
I don't want you here.
And terror stalks the night.
Compelled by desires I cannot control to commit acts which sadden and repulse me.
I've got a madman out there.
Enter the world of Dark Shadows, Sunday, January 13th on NBC.
I see it now, Brother Bobby. In Kansas, it's the big Chevy wintertime sale. Whoa! It's even bigger than I thought.
That's right, boys. It's even bigger with the Chevy Team of Kansas Chevrolet Geo Dealers year-end sale. Wintertime means low financing, over $3,200 in savings on some models, no payments for 3 months, and big year-end sale price cuts on the entire inventory.
There you are, Bobby, alone with all those pretty good... Wait a minute!
Uh-oh. Go now. Sale ends January 7th.
Custom cars, street rods, race cars, exotic sports cars.
Hi, I'm Diana Atkins, Miss September on the 1991 English Leather Calendar, and I'm inviting you to Daryl Starberg's 34th Annual Magna Show.
Come see 300 of the nation's top show cars. I will be appearing with country recording star Eddie Raven and Buddy Holly's Crickets. What a gigantic event.
Don't miss this once a year happening at Century 2 next weekend. Be there.
Be part of the team, the News Channel 3 News Watchers team. If you see news happening and capture the moment, give us a call at 1-800-627-5454. If we use your video, we'll give you credit and an official News Channel 3 News Watcher sticker to put on your camera, just to let everyone know that you're part of our team. Keep your camera ready and our number handy, and be part of the News Channel 3 News Watchers team on the Kansas State Network.
Happy holidays from News Channel 3.
Greg Thomas with 2 interceptions today. Those are his numbers on the season, and 2 interceptions. It's a good story. Here's a kid from Rolling Hills High School in Rancho Palos Verdes in the Los Angeles area. His dad is a physician. His teams went 1-9 and 1-9. The only way Colorado saw him was looking at him against other players that they were attracted to, and he got a late scholarship, and he's really produced. He wanted to quit, stayed because of McCarthy. Oh, big play. Zorich. Does he ever make All-America play?
Well, they're almost telegraphing that play. Now, Zorich again is going to go right by Leuenberg, right by Campbell in this case, who's a fine blocker. You'll see him come right up the field underneath. Beautiful job of Brian Campbell.
And a loss of 4 for Zorich, who now has 9 tackles, 7 of them solo.
This guy's so quick, he reminds me of Mike Reed, who played for the Bengals in Penn State many, many years ago.
You know,
just super quick.
And Leuenberg said, you know, he rolls up, you see those big arms, and you think at first it's because he's a power player. He's a quick player. He says he's lightning quick off the ball. Look at that. The enemy trapped for another loss. It's DeBose and Stonebreaker, the linebackers, to make the stop.
Well, Joe Garton and Brian Campbell are getting beaten. That's all there is to it. Joe Garton, potentially a first-round draft choice, but that quickness defensively coming up underneath. Now you'll see this, that quick move, and you'll see the movement inside by the linebacker coming right through over the top and making the play. So both linebackers pursued, with Zorich taking the gap.
Well, that DeBose with an athletic leap over the blocker and moved in to make the tackle. Johnson guns it downfield, has a man. It's Pritchard. First down.
Pass is ruled complete at the 22-yard line. Making the catch is Mike Pritchard, number 9.
Has Johnson improved that passing game? What poise. Now, Todd Light must have fallen down. He just wasn't anywhere to be seen, and he's the guy that's supposed to be over there. You see, he just got beat totally.
Rod Smith, they worked against Smith.
And there must have been a rotation to that side. That's all I can figure. You see him looking into the back. No, he should have been deep. He's just totally fooled.
You need only 1 foot in college. First down on a 29-yard pass play. Johnson to Pritchard. Hemingway goes to the weak side and gets about 5 on first down before Rod Smith can come up from his corner to make the hit.
Sean Brown blocked beautifully. Campbell pulled and Vanderpool pulled, and the play worked very well. They're collapsing that side of the defense over and over again.
Ranked number 1, looking for a national title, 10-9 early in the 4th period. And it's at the Irish 18-yard line, 2nd down and 6. The enemy. Not much there, except Irish White, Stonebreaker, spearheading the charge.
They've got to come back with that guard tackle pull counter play. They've worked it twice and is averaging about 8 yards a carry. They can bounce off that weak side. They just got to go back to it.
Arian Hagan on the sidelines. A rupture of the patellar tendon on the left knee. And sidelined for the rest of this game, but he came out with a big smile, indicating that whatever happened in that locker room, there still was plenty of confidence with this Colorado team. They're trying to add to that 10-9 advantage. Pritchard in motion on 3rd down. The give to the enemy. And it's well read by the Irish. DeBose stayed at home and made the tackle.
Willie Clark, Dick. Willie Clark blitzes the weak safety right into the hole. Remember, he did that early in the game. They called it again just at the right time. He's really filling a running lane as a weak safety.
So Jim Harper comes on for McCartney to try to give Colorado a 4-point lead. This one will be 35+ yards. And there's a problem as Johnson, the quarterback, and the holder goes to the referee. These are Southwest Conference officials. Frank Shepard, the lead man in the white cap, wants a different ball, apparently.
Well, the offensive teams have their choice of ball. So for some reason, they must not have had the right one.
36 yards. Harper was good from 22. George Williams does it for Notre Dame. And the Irish take over at the 20. There's Williams.
The kick is blocked by number 69, George Williams.
So special teams tonight, a major factor. The Irish have an extra point block and now a field goal attempt by Colorado is smacked away by big George Williams. It looked like the kick was very low.
It was a bad snap because the ball went right into Johnson's side, so it wasn't a smooth kick. But Vanderpool was beat right up inside, right here, and no one touched Williams. See him come right in between people. So it most likely, I wouldn't want to say directly whose problem, but Brian Campbell, the right guard, went too far inside too quickly.
Timeout, 11:19 to go, and still plenty of doubt.
People love the convenience of fax machines. What most of us don't like are funny paper faxes that curl up and are hard to read. That's why Xerox makes more kinds of plain paper fax machines than anyone else for documents that are easy to read and a pleasure to handle because they're on good old plain paper. Plain paper fax machines from Xerox, the way to put it together.
Putting it together.
Faxing, scanning, copying, printing. Xerox, the document company.
In the past 3 years, Mitsubishi Cars and Trucks have won 31 major awards for automotive excellence. One car has won the same award 3 times. The Mitsubishi Eclipse Turbo, the first sports coupe ever to be named to Car and Driver's 10 Best list 3 years in a row. Mitsubishi, the word is getting around.
Interstate Battery Power starts up strong and keeps on going. To find an Interstate Battery dealer near you,
Call 1-800-CRANK-IT. Get the power that goes on and on and on, yeah.
It's at your fitness headquarters, Sears. Our biggest sale of the season on all kinds of exercise equipment. Save $20 to $250 on treadmills, steppers, skiers, cross trainers, cycles. Hurry to Sears National Fitness Sale now.
The 1991 Federal Express Orange Bowl is brought to you by Federal Express. Absolutely, positively the best in the business. By Xerox, the document company. By Nike, who reminds you to just do it. And by Mitsubishi, bringing you a full line of award-winning automobiles. Mitsubishi, the word is getting around.
Beautiful shot from the MetLife blimp. This game is big, and so is the MetLife blimp, one of the world's largest airships, measuring 194 feet long, about 2/3 the length of the football field, 67 feet high, and bringing us those terrific overhead shots. Notre Dame snuffing a chance for Colorado to enlarge in their lead. It remains 10-9, and Meyer takes over at the 20. Rodney Culver. And he gains 5 to the 25. The Irish in the second half trying to self-destruct, but the defense has bailed out the offense.
It reminds you how little statistics mean when you finally get to the last game or the championship game. The Irish offense had only turned the ball over 11 times all season, and now they've done it
3 times in 3 possessions.
3 times in 3 possessions.
2nd and 5 for Meyer. Gets inside Alfred Williams, but there to pick him off is Greg Beekert.
Boy, did Beekert save Alfred Williams. Alfred over-penetrated, went right by the ball, and gave Meyer a chance to run underneath him, but Beekert is quick enough to get over there and make the stop. I think Alfred Williams is going to have to play more physical football if he wants to really continue as a great player in the National Football League. He just doesn't play physically.
Well, he doesn't carry much weight. He's 6'6" and only 232, he told us. He wanted to be 255, just can't seem to put on weight. 3rd and 5 for Notre Dame. 10 minutes to go. Meyer steps up and goes down in the grasp of Paul Rose. Justice Johnson has taken over for the injured Hagan, the quarterback. Rose for the all-Big 8 outside linebacker. McGee has made some big plays for Colorado.
You know, he's played as well as you'd expect McGee to play. He's played extremely disciplined. That time downfield, Colorado had everyone covered, and that was a rather complicated pattern to try to get Ishmael open. Everyone was covered very, very well.
To punt with McLuhan, the nation's leading punt returner at the Buffalo 37. What a kick! A cannon shot! Look at this! All the way into the end zone. Oh my! Here's an untold story. This Hendrick is as good as Notre Dame has ever had as a punter.
A punt of 77
yards, 57 net. That's his career high. He averaged averaged this year nearly 45 yards a punt, but because Notre Dame has such a solid offense, he didn't qualify, didn't have enough punts to rank among the nation's leaders. It's Colorado from the 20 when we come back.
Who's got the marketing plan? I do. Sales forecast?
Right here.
Presentation boards?
Murphy's got them.
Where's Murphy?
This is the final boarding call for Delta Flight 6.
Maddie Klein knows careers are riding on Delta flights.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes. We better go.
Nobody told me you had a cast.
Nobody knew.
Passengers should now be on board.
Maybe that's why more business people fly Delta than ever before.
Mr. Murphy, you have a nice trip.
Thanks. Already had one.
Delta, we love to fly and it shows.
In the past 3 years, Mitsubishi Cars and Trucks have won 31 major awards for automotive excellence. And now, for the second year in a row, a Mitsubishi Galant is Motor Trend's selection as the top buy among all imported sports sedans. Mitsubishi, the word is getting around.
At McDonald's, we're working on something big. Big Mac, Quarter Pounder with cheese, McDLT. We put a lot of good into every hamburger. McDonald's, always good food, always good value.
A new unsolved mystery explores phone calls from the grave. Did she really die under a phony doctor's knife?
Judy Himes is alive.
Then get the story behind the story of Elvis Presley's prom date and the woman who dumped him. Plus, see shocking scenes of a mid-air crash into the Empire State Building. A special 2-hour unsolved mystery. The story behind the story on NBC Wednesday.
Welcome back to the Orange Bowl with 9:07 left. There's the Colorado partnership of Hagan and Johnson. The relief man 4 for 5, Trump.
Interesting, gentlemen. I just talked to Jeremy Hagan. I asked him how the kid's doing. He said, great, because our game plan was to run check with me's at the line of scrimmage on every single play. So Bill Walsh, this Johnson kid has done a sensational job in the second half.
Well, he's a bright guy, and he's played well every time he's had a chance. And he's brought this team back into the winning picture here with his passing.
And he comes out throwing on first down. Dumps it off to Bieniemy on the sidelines. Well done, and Bieniemy picks up nearly 20 yards.
This guy's got amazing poise for not playing that much, but he's got a natural instinct for timing and throwing the ball. It's very, very well done. To be honest with you, Hagan would not have done that. He would not have done that.
Yeah, he really played with the one Notre Dame defender, didn't he?
Well, you see him fake the runs, come back out to the outside, but watch the natural move to his left, and he has a choice to make. This is all on Montana. Very well done.
Andre Jones, he let him come in to make the hit and just hit a little lollipop pass, almost a little basketball shot to Bieniemy. On first down, Bieniemy. And the senior, it's about 3. Don Grimm, the younger brother of Russ Grimm, the 4-time Pro Bowler of the Redskins, made the stop, number 36.
A year ago, Colorado was running the option play about every other down. This year, they're concentrating on running inside, using those big guards and center, both tackles, big active guys to control the ball. But again, they're going to have to come back with a guard tackle counter play, because that's the one thing that seems to be breaking open.
Each team with a touchdown and a field goal, but Ronnie Bradford of Colorado blocked the extra point try of the Irish, and that's the difference in the game. Bieniemy points, pick off the blocks, and he's strong as he carries men with him to the 40, to the 50, and a first down.
Brian Campbell blocked down on Zorich and eliminated him from the play. And meanwhile, Notre Dame blitzed. And when you blitz and the running play breaks the line of scrimmage, there just isn't any pursuit. Now you watch this block right here makes a difference. But also people are blitzing on the backside and don't pursue to make the tackle. Very, very well done. And Hemingway again doing a great job on Stonebreaker.
Scott Kolakowski came off holding a shoulder. And is replaced by Devon McDonald. First down at the Irish 49. Bieniemy again. Fumbles! And the Irish Nice recover at the 46. And a penalty flag goes down against Colorado. Willie Clark recovered.
It appears that number 32,
Michael Stonebreaker made the hit.
Near the 45-yard line.
And Bieniemy, who fumbled 11 times during the course of the year. He has small hands, big legs, and a short forearm. Bill McCartney says that's part of the problem. He just can't cradle that ball in there the way a lot of men can. And they say against Notre Dame, the penalty, the initial signal we saw was Colorado.
He may have signaled the wrong way. The players seem to act that way. Bieniemy just at the wrong time. Gosh, so much hanging on it, and the ball just flew out of there. I don't think there was contact that destroyed the ball.
Personal foul on the white. That ball foul. Personal foul on the black.
Post possession, so it'll remain in Notre Dame's possession as Bieniemy is hit by Stonebreaker, who led the Irish with 3 forced fumbles this year. Watch 42. Yep, he gets his helmet in there and knocks it free. And the youngster, Willie Clark, recovers.
The ball was just sort of shredded out.
Colorado's first turnover. They did have a muff by the kicker, Ruin, early in the game on a punt.
10 at its own 46-yard line.
There's the skirmish that led to the double foul. Ricky Waters and Tony Brooks, the seniors, are back in at the midpoint of the 4th quarter. Meyer. Is it good? No, out of bounds.
Meyer's pass incomplete.
Dave McLuhan on the coverage of Ismail. So one of the many psychological moves by Lou Holtz, telling his youngsters, you're going to play, you seniors sit down, and letting them sit for a while, and then figuring now's the time with the game in the balance to give the experience the opportunity to win it for Notre Dame.
And Waters can break and make the big play, where the other guys were physical and strong. Waters makes people miss.
Quarterback, and he's here first down, just shy of the 45. Tim James made the tackle, and a flag is down.
A flag is down.
A rare penalty.
Meyer wants to pitch that ball out. That's been his history all year because he has the great speed outside.
It's against the Irish for clipping, a big one. And Lou Holtz now getting the message, won't like the word.
On the offense, still second down.
See where they mark it from the 50-yard line back, make it the 45 of Colorado. So from the spot where the play ended, the 15 yards, to the Irish 40, where it'll be second down and 16.
At some point, there's going to be a reverse play in this ball game, and it's going to go. We had one in the first half, but at some point they're going to come back with it. Everybody's working so hard, pursuing so hard.
Ishmael to the right. Meyer. Hit. Throws. Incomplete. Rocket. A tough chance. It was Joel Steed, number 93, who was wrapped around the Irish quarterback.
It'll be 3rd and 16 at the 40.
Well, look for the screen pass at this point. I think that's the kind of thing they'll go with. Meyer just isn't getting the ball downfield accurately at all. Part of it's a pass rush, but the timing just isn't there for either club. So the screen pass with some outside running got a chance.
Thus far in the second half, the Rocket has been held in check by Colorado.
He's changing the play.
Down to 3 seconds on the play clock. He gets it off in time. Good job of scrambling from Meyer. Now he pulls up and throws deep. Incomplete to Ray Griggs. No flag. Dwayne Davis, the extra defensive back, in on the play for Colorado.
Pass intended for Ray Griggs.
Good job by Meyer.
Meyer could really have caused trouble, even if he'd run with that ball. because he got outside the contain. The Denver people, Howe didn't know where he was. He lost track of him.
For Colorado.
That was well played downfield by Davis. Timed well. It could have really cost him had he been there early.
Hendricks' last punt near an Orange Bowl record held by Ike Pickle of Mississippi State in 1937. He hit one for 82. Big roll, I understand. Had a big roll.
Did you research that, or was that at your fingertips?
At your stats, Elliot Kelp. No pressure.
What a punt.
Does he have a leg? Mile high, and McLuhan at the 16 with a fair catch.
Number 12, McLuhan.
Number 1 ranked Colorado has the ball and 6:28 to kill.
In the past 3 years, Mitsubishi Cars and Trucks have won 31 major awards.